See the potential, instant, influential. Maybe controversial, maybe in another life it's mental. Or maybe in this one sentimental. No, not accidental. Oh, but you come back tenfold gold. Like dripping in gold, be bold. Mold. Dripping in gold, be bold. Be bold. Be bold. Yeah, dripping in gold, be. Hold your standards, that's the best thing, hold your standards. 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 That's the best thing, yeah. See the potential, instant, influential.
light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it.
Green light, let's get it. I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it. I just win, 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 win.
on 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Hello, I'm Himothy. I got the recipe. I got the flow. I got the remedy. I know they do. I know they envy me. Feet on the floor. What they gon' say now? We came along from last place, bottom to top of the fast pace. Out of this surf, I get touchdown. I take a loss, get it back 8. I'm in the gym putting numbers up. You're never there, you got bad traits. Never excuses or cover ups. Learn from the losses and bad breaks. Green light, let's get it. I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it. I just win, 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 win. I'm on 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Green light, let's get it. I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it. I just win, 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 win. I'm on 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Who said I wasn't him? Who said it? All this talk about who's on top and who's not. Miss me with the gossip. Check the score. Yeah. See me coming out the screen. Know I gave myself the green light. Catch a shoe from the 3. If I'm not the one, it doesn't seem right. I need like 2, 4, 5, 6 in them rings.
Gamers from around sub-Saharan Africa, get ready for the return of the African Gaming Championship for 2026. We're heading to Cape Town, South Africa, where players will be competing at Grand West for 150,000 Rand in cash. This is where the top players from Africa gather to be able to compete. This is where bragging rights are earned. This is where new stars rise. This is where legends are made and legends fall. This is the crowning moment of African esports. This is AGC.
The youngsters have wrapped up for the weekend. It's bedtime, but here for the Open Division, we have our very first Open game on stage. It is, of course, the semi-finals of the Valorant Open Division. It has been a long day. They played 3 best-of-1s, then they played a best-of-3 for the quarterfinals, and now we have our top 4 teams. I'm Nari, I'm going to be one of your casters today, and I'm joined once again by the amazing Rigger. It has been a long day here at the Grand West Arena in Cape Town. How are you feeling ahead of our first semi-final?
Overtly hydrated. That's going to be my opener for this, but it's going to be a big game. It's a Fear versus Not Craig, right? Not Craig taking the moniker that old Craig with Hachi, who's currently
retired.
Nowhere to be seen. I think he's currently in a different province. But we're going into this BO3. This is what, the 6th game for these guys today. And then we have another semi-finals tomorrow, which is another BO3, and then grand finals is the BO5. So lots on the line here. You kind of want to end your day off on a high note. You don't want to go home after all this effort.
I mean, you say that. Think of how many teams we've had to say goodbye to today. We started with 16 teams at the beginning of the day, and only 4 remain. So let's dive into the veto here for our first semi-final. We've got Breeze and Haven getting banned out. Oh, Summit getting floated as we kick things off with Ascent into Split. But there's that Summit ban, followed by the Lotus, and we'll finish off the day potentially on Sunset.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard veto, especially South African-wise. The Ascent Open is a bit interesting. The Split is kind of expected. Sunset is honestly the most cinematic map to end on. You know, a caster's wet dream is saying, oh, and we sunset on Sunset in the best of 3. So pretty standard map veto here. I want to say that this is a very Craig-favored veto. There's a lot of experience on that Craig side, and I think they would benefit for playing a map that has been in the meta for how long? 3 years at this point?
Yeah, no, absolute staple. Now, obviously, for those that don't know, I come into this as a bitter caster because Fear was the team that knocked my org out of the tournament. But I do get some satisfaction seeing Fear ban out Haven, which is the map that Omnius very nearly took off of them. You know what? Fair enough. We're not going to tempt fate with that one. So tell me a little bit more about why you think this is a not Craig favored map pool.
I think it's just general experience. It's a lot of protocol stuff and a lot of experience that you have to make those mistakes in the really big moments to actually capitalize, make the correct decisions over and over again. This Fear team, not any strangers in terms of meta. A lot of the players have played in different iterations of this Fear roster, but not all of them have been playing together. So I think the Not Craig team, a bit of a mismatch, mix-up, a bit of a mix of players coming from different backgrounds, different organizations, different histories, have encountered and played against different greats across their tenured careers. So I think Craig just coming away with this. They have been in this position before. I think last year they went in the grand final. So minus Hutchie, sans Hutchie, is going to be the team that I'm banking, at least for the first map.
Yeah, I think what also makes it interesting, having this land in Cape Town, it does kind of make things a bit difficult. We have had some players traveling from far and wide to be here, but not everybody is capable of doing that. So you kind of, there's a LAN, let's see what we can put together, especially if it's players that aren't necessarily playing on solidified rosters or playing for organizations, but they want to be here. I mean, this is the dream for so many players, not just local players, all around the world. It's about LAN. It's about that experience. It's about being able to hook your PCs up with all of your mates, sit in the bullpen of all of those games and try your hand at getting onto the stage. And I think that's a very similar thing. Fear is a roster, or at least an organization that we're pretty familiar with. And these are players that have been around the scene for quite some time, also on various different rosters, but this iteration I think has been together for a little bit longer. So I think that where my question is going with this is, do you think that the fact that the Fear players have maybe a little bit more synergy might give them the edge over the experience of the Not Craig players, but with that maybe limited synergy?
I think potentially. I think a lot of the Fear players, at least the core from Raisins and Quinn, I think, are previously ORX Scorch. So they have been together for quite a while.
ORX, that was it.
Yeah, so they have been together for quite a while, so I wouldn't put it past them. Especially on these long days, you do kind of want to edge out like experience. You want to have those habits that are more consistent across the series. But sometimes, you might get for lightning in a bottle, right? The Fear team might just strike gold, peak at the exact right time, and find an edge against this Craig side. But it's only a best of 3. It's kind of weighted towards whoever strikes first, strikes the hardest.
Yes.
But yesterday with ASL, it was pretty sharp, right? The 11-1 half on map 2, 11-1 half on map 3. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, you never really know how it's going to go. I mean, we came into the ASL final yesterday thinking, PRG. I mean, they're just going to spam through this easy peasy, and they get through the first map and we're like, all right, cool, pack it in, let's go home. But the tenacity of the local Valorant players, whether it's high school or whether it's our adult seasoned veteran players, it is never something to count out. So we did actually see CKD come through with an amazing second map, took us all the way into map 3, and I would not be surprised if we have another similar situation here. That said, so Not Craig, they came through. Their quarterfinal match was against Marty's, which is a pretty strong side. It is a university side, but they're pretty strong in their own right. They've got LAN winner Two-Face on the roster there, along with some other well-known faces. And the first map went into a crazy overtime scenario. So both of these two teams, a lot of Valorant play today, very, very tiring. And then you've got we had a little bit of a wait. Obviously, we had the EAFC going on, which was very exciting to watch. But the players had to kind of wait for that to finish up. So I think it's been a long day, and there's maybe a lot on the mind. But like you said, the possibility of that grand final tomorrow, I think that's going to be kind of a wind beneath their wings. Yeah,
you kind of want to lean into this a bit, right? You want to come out strong. You might be tired, but you dig into the tank, you dig deep, negotiate with your body, your mind for a bit, like at least 13 more rounds, 26 more rounds, and you get across to that grand final slot about 2 p.m. tomorrow, where everyone's screaming your name potentially. You don't want to sort of fizzle out with a bang at the end of that really, really arduous long day.
Yes. And what's really exciting about this, sorry folks, it looks like we might just have a slight technical issue, so please just do bear with us. And what's really exciting about this, and I mentioned it during the Fortnite broadcast, because before I get into that, reminder, folks, we are live from the Grand West Arena in Cape Town. Spectators, you are welcome to come and join us. We have an almost full spectator crew here, so very exciting to see how many people are here to watch the semi-final. But it's not just Valorant. There's been Fortnite, EAFC, COD Mobile, Rocket League. There's been a slew of different games going on, and of course the finals happen on the stage where these players are. Very, very cool. And of course, you guys can come down. Entrance is free, so please do roll up. But here's the big draw card. I mentioned this in the Fortnite broadcast earlier today, and I'm gonna let anybody know that maybe is watching and isn't as familiar with the Valorant scene in South Africa, because you know what? They might look sideways at me for announcing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. One of our teams playing in the semifinals tomorrow is essentially the South African Valorant team that will be flying off to the Esports Nations Cup to represent us. So guys, if you want to get that sneak peek, if you want to come and see that team, see them live, get an autograph, you know, this is the place to do it. So make sure you come head down to the Grand West Arena. And we have these amazing limited edition mouse mats just for AGC. The players are here. Bring a pen, get a mouse mat, get them to sign it. That's content.
Yeah, and speaking of getting autographs, I saw a computer back there that had, I think, everyone's signatures on it. There was a mouse case or computer case rather that was just adorned in gold signatures. So someone's going to commit fraud. Someone's committing fraud in one way or another. But
you guys are all cooked.
I think the big thing as well, especially looking towards finals weekend, is MVPs.
Yes.
Right? And sort of priming it up here, MVP is going to be voted by not only us as production, but the chat is going to nominate people going in towards that. On top of that, there's another 30,000 Rand on the line, 15,000 Rand for first place, I think, 10,000 and then 5,000 respectively for the remaining pole positions. So it's going to be an interesting one, but it starts today.
It
right?
does
I think
indeed.
it starts today, especially on this stage. Fear is an org that has come relatively far since their inception in 2024. I think they have 2 titles to their belt already, one in COD, one in Fortnite at AGC. Looking to get this third one in Valorant.
Yeah, a similar situation with, so I spoke about the ENC team, so they're going to be playing under Goliath, and they've also found their first trophy earlier today. That was the EAFC. They're competing in 4 different titles, so looking to snag the victory in all of those. And that's the other thing that I love about this, is the number of organizations that roll up to an event like this, and you know, they're fighting tooth and nail for an opportunity to win the crown, the coveted AGC crown, and all of the prize and prestige that comes with it. So it's really cool, and it's a big community building moment. It's been so fun having everybody kind of walk around and go, oh my god, I know you, and everyone's like, oh wow, I've seen you in ranked, I've seen you on broad. I mean, somebody came and they're like, you're that Costa. It's fun. LAN is just like LAN's just such a different beast. You've felt it yourself. It's just it's something else entirely.
Yeah, I think one of the strangest things for me, meeting people whose voices I've only known online, right? I think it's a surreal feeling being so critical on everyone, and then standing in front of them and being like, well, I remember you when you were bad. So got a couple of those in today, got a couple of ribs today. But
remember that thing that you said I'd never say to you on LAN? Well, let me tell you.
No. I'm insecure. I don't want to deal with that right now. But we are in loading screen. We are getting up there. The technical issue has been solved. The lobby is live. It's going to open up on Ascent. Predictions. Give me predictions. We've seen some 11-1s. We've seen a couple of really contentious games, 13-6, for example, yesterday. What are you thinking today?
I think given how the quarterfinals went and how close basically every single one of those matches was, I think we're in for another very close affair. I wouldn't be surprised if we get to like a 13-9, 13-10. I don't want to pick a team. I have no idea. I mean, me personally, I had Marty's on the stage here over Not Craig, and a lot of people thought I was crazy. Apparently they were right. So I'm not the one to make the prediction of who's actually going to win, but I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be very entertaining. But I'm going to ask you for a different prediction.
Okay.
Compositions. What are we thinking?
I heard an Astra Star. I'm cheating. I heard an Astra
Star.
Star.
How dare you.
It's a sense. The standard fare is oftentimes that single controller, double initiator, double dive. Potentially, there's double sentinel that's floating around. Vito recently got buffed because we're playing on live patch. So there's a lot of opportunities in places this way these comps can go. Especially if you're that fear side. It's an upsetting opportunity, right? You can just pick that Astra. It's something that is bucking the trend and sort of leans into the veterans' experience somewhat. They're not accustomed to that Astra. The only real notable Astra of note is Toothless.
Yeah.
Not on the stage.
Yeah, valid. Toothless's Astra is the stuff of nightmares. But all the house lights have gone down. Everybody's got some lighty stick things. Do we have a crowd camera? I don't think we do. That's unfortunate. That would be so sick. I actually want one of those. I want one of those. Everybody's having sword fights with their like lighty sticks, and no one offered me one, Adam. Okay, I'm getting a lighty stick. We can have a lightsaber fight.
I don't want a lightsaber fight. Yeah, I don't want a lightsaber fight at all.
Okay, you know what? We'll do it backstage somewhere because I've just heard that we are going to be throwing this to a quick break. So apologies for the delay, folks. We're going to throw this one to a break. When we come back, I promise you that semi-final is waiting just on the other side. apologies for that, folks, but welcome back. We are getting ready to dive straight back into the action. You know, sometimes technical issues happen. Live, laugh, esports, as I like to say. But hopefully things are sorted out now and we can finally dive in. So, a little bit of a recap. If you have just joined the stream, maybe you were running late. Well, you know, lucky for you, we had a bit of a holdover. So this is our Valorant Open Division semi-final here at AGC. We're kicking off with Fear versus Not Craig. And of course, Riga, as we know, our first map's going to be Ascent.
Yeah, followed by Split and Sunset. And on the one side, we have the Beast on Astra. So we're already on a pretty weird cadence, the Waylay being picked as well by Baldwin, and then Sway currently hovering that Phoenix. So it's going to be a bit of a strange comp towards the Defender side and a more standardized comp with that Jen and the Phoenix on the other side.
Yeah, Phoenix is it's one of the best flash initiators that we have right now, just with the way things have panned out. Historically, you know, it's always been kind of that KO, but now, not the best one, but on this map. And now, you know, you bring the Phoenix to the fore, and you've got that extra kind of firepower from the duelist. I'm kind of looking forward, however, to Fear's comp, just because they've got that Waylay as well. Now, the Jet is obviously the more standard pick, but as we know, I think that in most situations, the Waylay is going to be the better pick. So hopefully they can leverage that quite nicely. And I think that the Astra actually brings with it a lot of potential as well.
Yeah, Astra is oftentimes that pick that you pick for a lot of versatility. She fills out that pseudo initiator role as well. So going into this, we're gonna be leaning towards that Omen comp, being a bit more aggressive, being able to push the initiative a bit more going into this, but that's speculation, right? It's all good and well having a plan until you get punched in the face, right? So
100%.
we're going to go into this. The AGC semifinals #1. It's Wriggle and Nari Mizuki on Ascent.
Yes, it is. And it's also Fear and no Craig.
Yeah.
Not Craig on Ascent.
Not Craig, yeah. There's no Craig to be seen, but this is not Craig right now.
This is not Craig.
Yeah.
Now, bearing in mind, of course, with this being not Craig's map pick, it means that Fear are going to get to start on the defender's side. So we're going to be diving into that in just a moment. Oh, the ready up, you know, an important part of the setup here. We'll kind of check in with the player cams. I love that we have this now as well. So we're going to get to see reactions. We're going to get to see the excited kind of fist bumps, the winning moments. It's going to be a lot of fun as we get ourselves ready to dive into this first map. What are you got my prediction for who's going to walk away with this map. What are you thinking?
I just want everyone to have fun, if I'm being honest. No, I'm kidding. I think Fear has a lot of potential going into this. I think Fear has a pretty blooming fan base. They've been growing over the last couple of years as well, so a win here would do them well. I think this would be their third AGC title. They've won COD, they've won Rocket League, I suspect, and there's potentially going for the Valorant, so going for the hat-trick in terms of AGC wins, which is potentially precedent-setting. It'll be the first org in South African history that has won 3 tournaments or 3 games in the same tournament, right? Goliath currently on cadence to be doing a similar thing as well in their game, having won the Fortnite earlier today, and I think the FIFA as well previously. So currently tied up with Fear in terms of scoreline, but 7 seconds is going to count us down into the first round of semifinals #1.
Oh, ACGL club incentives win. Imagine, wouldn't that be fun? All right, let's dive in, folks. Round #1 of our semi-final, and immediately Dean, gets his head ripped clean off. That is Phoenix on Phoenix violence. Raisins is here to just kind of make sure that no one's pushing in. Meanwhile, getting up close and personal, the fight happening in mid. The entirety of Catwalk has been left open, free for the taking. Waylay flying into the backline, running distraction, and it's the Beast and Sway to clean it up. Fear take the first round.
Yeah, massive pistol for them. When I spoke to them earlier today, they said they were feeling confident. They said they were feeling very excitable. I got a quote from Quinn, and he said he just wants to stand up and give it to them. He just wants to shout across the stage, tell them they're bad at the game, right? So this is a hell of a way to start it off. A really potent pistol, leaning in favor of them off of Sway's first blood, which is, I think, something to keep an eye on, especially if he's going to be playing that Phoenix, right? The cadence, the magic number we're looking for is an ulti every 3 rounds. So another tech pause. The South African Pansy strikes once again 3 times in the same official.
Do you know what? On any other day, I would love to be called the South African Pansy, but when you're doing it because of tech pauses, What was that about getting punched in the face?
I'm pacifist. Don't look at me.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wait for them to get themselves sorted out. This isn't something that should take terribly long to sort out, hopefully. So should be diving back in very shortly. But what do we think about how the waylay was used there? You know, a little bit of a distraction, trying to pull the attention away.
That's oftentimes why you pick the waylay, right? Waylay is oftentimes regarded as the jet replacement, right? Does a lot of the same things Jet does, can aggress the neutral space pretty effectively. The only thing that she has over Jet is that she has a pretty consistent recall. Right. The only thing Jet has is that dash, but Waylay, if Waylay decides to refract, she can get so much bigger bites of the cake and then completely bail out of it if she feels like she's not adequate or even favored for at any given moment. So we're going to see more of it, I think, especially on attack, how you default around, especially with that Phoenix playing that initial contact for you, and then Waylay actually taking bites of the cake and then bailing out of it. I think there's a lot of uphill work that Not Craig has to be doing, but it is Ascent. It is one of the more infamously defender-sided maps. So this first round isn't the end of the world. It's just a little kick in the sandcastle, yeah.
Ooh, the info play from Baldwin. Now he knows there's like a whole 3 players here. So he can calm that over. And yes, there is a little bit of a split happening over towards B, but this is more for that orb control. So this is more than likely going to be a little bit of an A split. Good news, they don't have to necessarily commit to anything just yet, but with the orb under their control, they now look to regroup. Already starting to push into main though, not really waiting for those reinforcements to arrive. Straight into Baldwin's Judge, baiting out some of the shots, forcing him to have to back away a little bit here. Nice little bit of utility from the Astra as well to ensure that the waylay can get into safety and slow down the encroaching hordes. We ignore the dash into smoke, exactly what you want to be doing. The follow-up onto Painter is good. And now the last 3 remaining players from Not Craig really have to put some thought into this. Good little Molotov from Dean, but he does get traded back by Quinn. With only 1 player alive as the Guardian tap. Make it a 3K for Quinn and Fear convert.
Yeah, they sort of Chekhov's waylay or refract, right? Baldwin actually TP straight into A main early, finds that there's a lot of people there, and if they're not going to contest the orb, there's no real hit of them, a real chance of them hitting that, right? Same thing towards that B side of the map, but once again, the South African pansy strikes once more, as I say, getting further and further away from my co-caster. But the big thing here, looking towards that Baldwin, getting one of very few opportunities in terms of econ to get that Judge rolling, especially on maps like Ascent. The gap oftentimes between site and the mains is quite exaggerated, right? So this is like he's one-off. He gets 1 round where he can do that sort of thing. As we're going to develop later into these rounds, it's going to become few and further between.
All right, Not Craig going to have some guns into this round, so a little bit more to work with. You know, the pistol round tends to be a little bit more coin flippy, the conversion a little bit easier to handle, particularly if you don't see a force up in the previous or in the follow-up round. So now Not Craig play that really well. They're happy to go in with a little with no real spend into that previous, so they make sure they come in with weaponry available for this one. But it is going to be a similar approach here. I think Cypher's going to be in an important position. Could very easily come head-to-head with Baldwin. But here we go. Run It Back comes online from Dean. He's been doing as much as he can. Unfortunately, Run It Back's going to get run over. Oh, Baldwin trying to get those shots to connect. But Painter's going to find the opening frag here. So the Run It Back does what it needs to do. The flank is being set up as well. We'll have Cypher on Cypher violence in just a moment. But before that even has a chance, we get the jet kill on to Quinn. So now, finally, Not Craig putting themselves in a position of power. 2 versus 4 retake needed. Fear the Beast living up to the name, but unfortunately put down. Not going to be allowed to play any further in this one, and Sway gets caught in the side of the head. Not Craig starting to stabilize.
Yeah, really big duel from the side player Dean, or Painter rather, on site. Actually secures that B or that A execute, right? Painter's someone who's debuting on LAN. He hasn't been playing for a while. He's actually playing his first ever LAN here and his first ever semi-final at the AGC semis. So a really good showing from him, especially as that's over. You want to be finding as much impact. That's his first kill as well on the grand stage. So good job for Painter here. But that's 1 round answered for Not Craig. Let's see if they can keep this cadence going.
Change up the approach a little bit. Cam spots out 2. They need to rethink this, and immediately now we're going to move to a more kind of mid-push. Not looking to necessarily split this. Oh, Sway, that was ambitious. Okay, gets caught out. Double kill comes through, and immediately Dean pushing into the defender spawn, looking to try and catch some of these rotations off. And the Beast has already made his position known. No idea that he's being wrapped on. So Dean follows it up beautifully. Baldwin is moving to the opposite side of the map, so things are turning a little bit on their head. No idea that there's someone tucked into the corner. The 3K from Dean working towards yet another run it back.
Yeah, it's actually a really big kill from Dean, actually just blowing open that mid-split wide open. So this is how you want to be playing Ascent, right? You want to be starting off with that mid-control and then building up layers on top of that, right? Any previous successes, so if your B main's working, B splitting through market onto B. If your A split's working, A main through tree, right? So very, very good start in terms of building up this attacking side. The defense oftentimes has to do relatively nothing, and I feel like they did a bit too much. Sway taking a pretty advanced peek onto bench and getting punished for it.
Especially because there's a trap wire right there. Yep. But hey-ho, these are the small mistakes that can be cleaned up over time. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of an eco round now, and spam through the cage. It's the ZA classic.
Yep.
Smokes are not a place to hide, unfortunately. And as mentioned, it's an eco round now for Fear. So as much as they had a really solid kickoff, losing those last 2 rounds has left them in a really, really tight spot. Already having lost a player, and I think for this one, it's just a case of doing a bit of damage.
Yeah, this conversion pass is also online next round if he dies this one, so there is some kind of silver lining in the clouds.
Run it back, popped here from Dean, happy to throw it out, confident he'll be able to farm it back up again. Ooh, Raisins! Double Sheriff shot off the back of Fear the Beast, finding that first kill onto the encroaching hordes. Somehow Baldwin's going to follow it up as well. Guys, stop buying rifles. Your Sheriffs are absolutely unbelievable, and now it's all down to Dean on that Phoenix. He's lost control of the spike. Wall comes up to try and give him a little bit of a walk up, and Beast's position is pretty much known. So he's going to have to cut noise a little bit here, holding onto the spike, and as the wall drops, it's a thrifty round for Fear.
Yeah, giving them a reason to cheer is the Thrifty is dangerous, right? Ooh. That's a very, very dangerous Thrifty and a really well-won or won one, right? And Baldwin, I think, has that convergent pass now. So any B retake is now on the table. Any kind of A retake is on the table. I think he used it that round.
He did use it, yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure. Secure it. I mean, use your ulti as soon as physically possible, especially on those Thrifties. A very EG style of thinking from 2023, right? Using your ultimates to equalize the game state.
Yeah.
And as a result, they equalize the game state, equalize the economy, and get one round additional.
Yeah, you know what? If you're confident you can rebuild it, then absolutely. It's what Dean is doing, right? Knows that he's going to be able to build it back up fairly quickly, so use it. Don't, hang on to it for the next game, because what's the point of that? So, big opener here. Sway. I mean, the fight between these two Phoenixes has been pretty spicy. It's gone a little bit back and forth. This time around, it's going to be Fear with another opening kill. So that's going to cause a little bit of a slowdown from Not Craig.
Yeah, Sway getting that first kill. It's about 6 seconds on that contact, so really good timing because Raisin's going to kill his mirror as well. It's a mirror v mirror violence here as Fear currently 5 up. Haven't lost a single body, looking on track for flawless.
Great use of that trap wire as well. Kind of feels like there's a lot of interesting individual attempts happening here. All right, we've got dueling drones. Both Sovas trying to find that kind of mid-round information. Down to the 40-second mark, and so Not Craig going to have to actually commit to something or commit to the save.
Yeah, running out of time. There's no options here, right? You haven't developed a B hit. You haven't developed any kind of mid control as well. So managing to survive with your guns is probably optimal, best in slot here. But let's see. Painter the rookie, currently set up in the most dangerous situation here, but there's no one in proximity to cause havoc, so the time is just going to run down. Another round for Fear on the board.
Yeah, I mean, Not Craig realizing that if they lose all of their guns here, the economy is going to be a bit of a disaster. We've just come off of losing against a Thrifty. This is realistically kind of the last really robust buy that they would have for maybe another round. So you want to make sure that you've still got some weaponry available. Why give those over unnecessarily? Why hand over alt orbs unnecessarily? Rather just kind of hold on to what you have, live to fight another day. But that does bring us to a 2-round lead for Fear. We've gone a little bit back and forth, but so far, advantage. Ball in Fear's court.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of an effort here, right? But you can't be making small mistakes like that. I think Phoenix contacting down B main to get that orb solo is a bit grief, because that orb is gonna give timing for any kind of flash or any kind of trap play to trigger. So they're running it back, looking towards that B side of the map, but they are gonna walk into a Cypher and an Astra, it seems.
Well, we've got Shock Dart. Surely they've got some lineups for this. Oh my days, Fear. That smoke spam is just a little bit unreasonable. So the first kill comes through once again. These opening frags have been so detrimental for Not Craig. And off the back of that first kill, yes, they have set up the Sova into a position where he could potentially get something done. But now, so you can actually see that the Spike is regrouped in B main. So we're sending reinforcements over towards A to potentially sell a bit of a fake. And already we're seeing Fear start moving across.
Yeah, it's going to be a contact play. Maybe evolves in the next 20 seconds. It's Gingerman looking to take the Vanguard position, yeah? Take a fight into tree. Doesn't know there's a high-low. Survives with his life. Managed to get out of there.
Be right back.
Spike's still towards B and Baldwin not letting him get away that easily. He's going to completely chase after. Refracts to get out of there. No kills. No blood traded here.
Astra wasn't really in the best position to trade off of that, but they know that it's just one player. So they know that whatever this is, it might not necessarily be anything of consequence, but with that run it back committed, they've pulled a lot of reinforcements over. Now free space. Jades has already made his way in onto the site, so this should be a fairly free plant for them. Gonna check Boathouse. Gingerman up close and personal, ready to catch the beast on the rotation. Sway, however, gonna pop the run it back of his own. First time we're seeing that come through. Okay, Raisins gets flashed by his teammate. You know what? These things do happen from time to time. Sway not gonna get too much dials done on the run it back, but he's managing to get back to his position. So numbers advantage continues to fall in favor of Fear, but a great little flank around in mid means that Gingerman shuts down Baldwin, brings it back to the 2-on-2. Jades trying desperately to survive in Boathouse. Swung from both sides. Gingerman trying to stop the defuse, buys that little bit more time. 2 HP in a dream. It's not half just yet. Gingerman, you got it. There it is. Oh my god, the 4K. Raisins gets off the defuse. The paranoia sets in. This game is going to deliver.
Yeah, but it bailed out there by Gingerman, having to get 4 kills, 80% of all the kills in that round for Craig here. Starting off with that mid conversion is really, really good, but I think there's a lot of questions you have to raise. Why is Jade solo backside? Why is Dean so late to the B main pop, right? So I think they barely survived. Gingerman misses any kind of shots, any stray bullet hits him for 2 HP, and he's gone there. So, yeah, still in the lead, but it's a bit shaky on the side of Craig.
It's shaky everywhere. It's been a very little spicy kickoff here. Good timing on the smoke.
Oh, that was close.
That was millimeters. If that had been a collat, I think we would have heard it on the stage. I think the Grand West would have heard it all the way to the entry. But it's Raisins again here in mid, taking a little bit of an aggressive position. The Molly is actually able to dodge away from most of it, but Dean, beautiful timing on that flash. He's going to get the kill onto Raisins. That's going to give them mid presence, but Baldwin does indeed activate to find that first opener. But it's a trade again. Back and forth we go into the 3-on-3, but no real space claim just yet. Pushing now.
Is going to open it up as well. Going towards the safe side of the map. It looks like it's going to be our final destination here with Spike.
Spike now being planted, but Quinn is here ready and waiting to stop the spike from happening. Oh, swing from Painter. I don't think he was expecting Painter to get off the plant and go for that swing. So Baldwin's now going to have to try to retake with this op. But look at the flank from the Cypher coming all the way from their spawn. And even if Baldwin is able to get one here, and let's be real, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. The timing from Gingerman is going to be everything. Oh my God,
way.
Baldwin, you absolute monster, but can you get more done? It's down to the one-on-one pistol in hand, and it's Painter with the 3K to clutch the round.
Yeah, and it's very, very Pyrrhic victories here. Every single round is going down to one person. So your Econ's going to take a hit here, but the equalizing on the scoreboard, I'll take it, right? 4-all is a very, very admirable scoreline, especially on this attack side. You kind of want to equalize things because you know you are defender favored on this. So Fear, in a very precarious situation, Econ in shambles. That's 5 sheriffs.
Yeah, but we've seen them with sheriffs.
Yeah, we have seen them with sheriffs, but they don't have the ultis. That's the difference. They don't have that conversion pass like they did the last round.
Got a Hunter's Fury online. We'll see if they can make some magic happen with that. I don't really want to see it in this round. I'm going to be perfectly real here. Going for the info play, only spotting the Omen, but Not Great play that really well. They play that very, very passive, just in case. I know it's going to be a little bit of an eco round, so with that, you're expecting possibly an eco rush or an info play. Oh, but the Sheriffs have come to play once again. Baldwin caught out of position, can't get the follow-up. The Hunter's Fury gets procced here. I wasn't sure if that was actually going to come out, but it does. Maybe buys a bit of time, but we're still well over a minute remaining.
Yeah, and where's the spike leaning towards? It is coming towards A, it seems. I think take your chances, gamble that the Sheriffs aren't that good, but we've seen what happened the previous round.
Oh, drone, I think it did actually tag it. Well, not necessarily tag him, but it spotted him. And, well, if the drone didn't, the jump spotting gives it away. Painter finds the kill onto Sway. The jump spotting just not quite working out. Unfortunately, Quinn's going to be forced back a little bit. Beautiful reflexes onto the dart. You can actually see he's aiming for the initial bounce point and then realizes it's a bounce. It's beautiful how he does that. The shock dart kill, just to add insult to injury. The last vestige here for Fear will fall unceremoniously. And now Not Craig take the lead for the first time.
Yeah, and you can see the evolution of their attack side, right? Their first rounds were pretty shaky. They got caught off guard by Baldwin's double dash into A main, and this time they've made that an adaptation, right? Instead of leading 3 people towards A main, they lean 2 people really far away, almost towards Gelato's side, just to see if that chase happens, right? They want to see if any traps get triggered involuntarily by the Craig side. So going into this, the timeout's going to get procced. I think it's a... If I'm being honest, it is a bit of a VCT-CN timeout. There's no real necessity going into this, unless there is something on the more cerebral side that has gone wrong in comms, especially breakdowns in protocols like that is going to be oftentimes the way that you proc those timeouts. But if I'm Fear, I'm not that concerned. I feel like we're doing more things correct than we are doing incorrectly. So this timeout is oftentimes just to pump the brakes. Let's pull that first shoot, make sure that we don't hemorrhage too much damage going into that second half.
I'll be real. When I had my stint as a coach for a little while, and there were times I'd call it a timeout, and I would just be like, guys, just chill. Just take a second, don't talk, just like chill out. Especially because when things, like it goes your way, then it doesn't go your way. And you can start to get frustrated very, very quickly. Comms can get cluttered, or they can just kind of die entirely. So sometimes you need that moment to just be like, all right, guys, regroup, refresh. Pineapple is the ominous call out. And, you know, just give yourself a moment to get back into the swing of things. Did
you just say a safe word on broadcast? I'm
so that's the regroup call.
Okay, well, whatever you say. So going towards A main is a 5-man hit. Is Baldwin. It's coming in really, really quickly here. Very, very quickly. Still looking for that first blood. Plays for an air, but misses. Baldwin finds 2, and so does Beast.
Fancy footwork followed up by the Odin spam, the double kill. King, is that you? Absolutely outrageous here. Spike's been lost as well. It's stuck in the cage. And now somehow Craig are going to have to find a way to recover it. Gingerman finds that first kill. But there's still 4 more players to try to carve through, and they are getting flanked on. There is a trap wire there ready to kind of catch them out. But if they opt to push in, they're pushing into 4 people. And if they opt to turn around, there's a Cypher waiting for them. They opt to push, and Baldwin and Sway shut it down. Maybe the timeout was buy an Odin and break their mental.
Yep, that's actually one of the things I was talking to Beast about was his goal getting onto stage, his goal for winning this tournament is I want to break their mental. I want to get in their heads. I want to make them fear just being around the map in general, right? So Beast currently leading the kill board on Fear's side, living true to his promise, a promise he made a couple of hours ago. So good to see that. Going into this, but look at the 4 ultis. We have Run It Back and Hunter's Fury in pocket going here. And we also have From the Shadows on that Omen. So let's see if there's some trap play shenanigans or really late adjustments here.
There's only 2 rounds left to try and get into the second half with the lead, but I think the 6-6 is certainly a possibility. I also think that whoever wins this round very likely goes through with the 7-5 lead, especially when you look at the fact that Not Craig have a bajillion ultis behind their name. Raisin's waiting for the push to come through. The Run It Back gives over that tiny bit of info. Raisins makes the right call, pulls back, waits for the regroup from the rest of the team. It does mean that they have to give over a lot of space on the site, however, but the Run It Back doesn't get all the value that they might have wanted. Unfortunately, Quinn already quick to fall, pushing directly into the defender's spawn. Absolutely no quarter given. Raisins tries to battle back, but he gets caught, and it's going to leave Baldwin all alone. The final shot lands, and Craig back in the driving seat.
Yeah, 6-6 all but secured here. Is one more round on the board here. Not Craig doing a really, really good job. We spoke about how that experience oftentimes makes the edge here, right?
Yeah.
Understanding simplicity is sometimes best, especially when you have ultis like the From the Shadows and the Run It Back that they layer on top of each other just to get onto site, bypass a lot of the utility and get those early fights as soon as possible. But halftime on the horizon for this first semi-final game, map 1. Fear is kind of reeling here, but they have the convergent pass. They have a Run It Back on their own to respond.
And as predicted, economy not look the greatest. We've got a Guardian and I believe it was a Spectre thrown into the mix there. So it's a bit of an uncomfortable scenario. But like you said, we've got those ultimates to try to leverage. They had nothing in the previous and they got 4 online. Oh, dear God. Well, that's one ultimate they're not going to get to use in this round. Painter has been so good with some of these kills. The Baldwin's going to try and slow down the possible push into mid. And I like the more pulled back angle that's being held here. Slight gap in the cloud burst. It's going to allow them to push forward, but Neural Theft comes out. That puts him in a little bit of danger. Converging paths. There it is. Finds the double kill off the back of it, but he's lost teammates as well. It's still a 3-on-3. It's still not out of the woods just yet. This has caused a bit of a slowdown from Not Craig, and they've already taken space through mid on towards that B side. But look at where Baldwin is right now. The third kill lands. A little bit of damage done. Dean, caught between a rock and a hard place, has to try and isolate these duels, but getting tagged down through the wall. Finds that first one. 1 versus 2. Knows that Baldwin was here. The flash comes out, but he runs straight into the swing. Baldwin, what a round from the Waylay.
Absolutely outrageous. That convergent path catches 4 out of the 5 attackers there and equalizes the round. 4 kills on the name for Baldwin is tied up game. Oh, we're going to go the distance, at least in this one, is Baldwin 12 kills on the round. That's 2 high impact ultis. That's convergent paths that have won 2 rounds guaranteed. So really, really good ult usage from this Fear side. I think they're a team that has a bit of a chip on their shoulder. They have a lot of drive, at least as an organization. They're bringing the fight, especially in this first semi-final. But all things equal, it might as well be a 0-0 scoreline as another 12 rounds potentially dictate who takes the early lead here in this series.
Such a sick round.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Positioning, and the fact that they opted to push into mid, and it just, all the stars aligned for that one. But here we go. Let's dive into the second half. The first half is done and dusted, and they need to put it in their rearview mirror and focus on the rounds ahead. Baldwin going for the old jet play that we've become so famously accustomed to. Well, gonna use that on the Waylay instead. A little bit of a trade-off here towards the B site as Gingerman finds a little bit of purchase, looking to try and get a follow-up if possible. They're not going to be able to stop that plant from happening. They do need to be very weary of this close left angle. Oh, Gingerman fears no Phoenix. Does fear a Quinn, unfortunately. There is going to be a trade back, but the spike's been planted. Need to hold the line. Fear the Beast brings the equalizer back into the 2-on-2, but Raisins from around the outside. Double kill. He's not just in your head, he's in your back line.
Yeah, that's a really expeditious lurk there. Starting from A, rotating all the way through mid, ends up B main, closes out the round. Like, it's exactly how you wrote it up, right? So let's see if they can keep this going, right? If things hold correct, they're currently 2 for 2 for pistols. 1 more round almost guaranteed on this anti-eco conversion. Seems like Not Craig not investing that much into this round. So no sharing shenanigans from the opposite side. So let's see what the anti-eco looks like, all right? Fear, a team that has been together for quite a while. Let's see if their strat blitz has migrated over from their previous teams and iterations here.
Oh, Baldwin with the judge. That's going to be very, very spicy. Has prepped this recall, so ready to get right up close and personal. That's going to clear out the site. Already has pulled back, but can come over. All right, Oda actually didn't go for the pullback. Realized the site was open and opted to just keep pushing. Going to continue clearing, try and make sure that there's no one on site. And now the spike follows very quickly behind. Will get planted. 5v5 retake.
Oh, no, the smoke.
Oh
no, the smoke.
Well-placed plant as well, so the Molotov doesn't land on the default position. It is going to make things a little bit more difficult to hold on to the spike, but as we said, it's an anti-eco, so positioning of the spike not going to be a big factor here. It's all about how this retake is played. The stars are going to make things so difficult. The flash out just to add that extra layer of pain as Fear start to pull away.
Yeah, that's a really, really big round. You mentioned the refract and the fact that he didn't actually go for it. It's actually really, really good because he doesn't. He can actually guarantee another one down the line, and he actually holds a lot of space for his team while his team sort of trickles down B main. I think they were playing for if he dies, they can just pivot fast over towards B. He didn't die. There was no one on site. Painter was the only person in tree, so he just keeps aggressing, keeps pushing the issue. I think it would have been different if he managed to get into that heaven smoke. With that judge, he could make it sing and do a lot of damage there, but running out of opportunities to find value with this judge, I think we're going to see something fast here.
Dean's looking to maybe get the orb control here as well. He wants to build up to that run it back as quickly as possible. We've seen how impactful it can be. Ooh, timing on that one. And now Raisin's calling for the reinforcements. That could leave Stale in a little bit of danger. And there we go, information garnered. So they're going to have to back out as quickly as possible. But somehow these players managed to survive that little bit longer.
Raisin wants to re-aggress into the A main, actually. He's going to jump up on top of Bike, trying to see if he can get anything, but doesn't manage to find anything as the map resets somewhat. There is an ulti on Sway, should he want to use it towards this B side of the map, but there's a lot of Cypher util.
If nothing else, Not Craig maintain control of A main, and that's massive just in and of itself. And now they can kind of reposition themselves a little bit here. They are going to maybe want to re-clear that at a later stage, but for now, what you and I know is that they're actually angling over towards B. Spike's already made a pretty solid rotation, and yes, Raisins is here on the flank. Has been devastating in some previous rounds, but the runner back does get popped from Sway, so immediately going to start running out in onto the site. Straight into Ginger Man's waiting arms, but information garnered means that there can be a trade. Jades, however, pops out with a double kill of his own. The judge gets deleted. Raisins and Sway absolutely doing the most. But can this spike now get planted? They have to recover it. It's being babysat a little bit. Shots not quite landing the way he wants them to. Pulls out the shorty. Still can't finish his meal, and Jades will shut him down. Raisins has a huge job ahead of him here and cannot get it done. Not Craig respond.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Sway just kind of made a meal out of it. Both shorty shots and 5 Guardians couldn't find that one kill. It's just a comedy of errors at that point. I think they did everything right in terms of macro, how they played the map, and small things, small adjustments like going for the recon dots instead of pushing that CT smoke or struggling that much to find that first kill cost Fear that round. So going into this, Not Craig still on the defensive side, favored to be taking an early advantage here, but we're going to go into first rifles. All things equal, Dean has that run it back in hand, so they do have an A flood on the horizon. They do have a B hold with the Cypher utility, but an A split is what they're going to have to deal with, but with no A main pressure, it's going to be dicey.
Baldwin's looking to clear some space early on. Man, the Phoenix on Phoenix violence just never ends. And from that angle, or that distance as well, and a follow-up clear with the drone. A main is theirs fully and completely, and that allows for a lurk around. But space is being taken on towards B here. A few shots fired through this smoke, trying to find a little bit of an opening here, but it's a double kill to come through. It's even the shock dart to get the follow-up. As much as they took that space, cleared it out, tried to give themselves the advantage, they lost sight of that B area, and now it is absolutely Fear's for the taking. Dean gets caught in that star and unfortunately loses that run it back. But thankfully it is the run it back, so he's still alive and still in this round. 3-on-4 is absolutely doable, but it has to be picture perfect. The first kill to come through. There's suspicion that Baldwin is here, but Painter's not going to stick with it. It's going to allow Baldwin to wrap around, and that's going to be a 3K on the final moments.
Yeah, like you mentioned, they're actually clearing B main, they're forgetting a couple of those steps in the layers that they need to be actually doing those defensive retakes. Skipping a couple of steps and they just enable Baldwin to close out the round in spectacular fashion here. But things are looking pretty Fear-flavored. They have forced another eco here. A very expensive one as well, as you're seeing a lot of the Sheriffs complemented with full shields, light shields here. So trying to stem the damage here, but their anti-eco conversion rate not the highest. Not Craig in a very precarious situation, trailing by 2 here on this defensive side, which they are favored in theory, or at least by map theory.
Fear's 1 round away from double digits on top of everything else, and well, with that opening frag, the A site capitulates, and it's absolutely free for them. It's now going to have to be, I mean, we had the gamble stat, didn't really work out, so now they're going to have to try and go for the retake on the other side of the map. The Sheriffs have been shown to have some serious prowess so far in this particular map. You can hear the reactions as people realize that ultimate is ready again. Out it pops. Quinn finds that first onto Dean. Could be a big investment into an eco round, but what does it matter? You want to secure these rounds. You want to secure your spot. And there's the double digits. A flawless round for Fear, and that streak keeps extending.
I mean, it's an effective convergent pass there, but is it necessary against pistols? I wonder in hindsight if that's going to bite them, especially when their B side has been shown to be quite vulnerable in terms of how difficult it is to actually retake into it.
Yeah, but now they're 100% success in rounds where they use it.
Yeah,
so
true.
like
3 for 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big statistic
Pat
first
the
and
stats,
foremost. Yeah. But we'll see. I don't think this game has ever been about optimization, at least the specific one in front of us. It's always been about how many layers fundamentally you have going into a lot of these rounds, right? Like you mentioned, you use that ulti to confirm the round win. You don't want to make it dicey. You don't want to lose guns, right? Make sure these gunfights are as unfair as possible. Even if that one tips the scales quite heavily, the scales of fate pointed down with one finger, but timeout forced on the Craig side. You kind of need to stabilize a bit. You're running out of opportunities. What, 3 more mistakes, and we're going to map 2. So,
but it feels like this has been a game of call and response.
Yeah, 1,000%.
As soon as one person has an idea, we get a very quick kind of adaptation to that, and then you have to have the counter adaptation, and so we go around in a circle. And that's kind of what you want, right? I mean, a reminder, folks, this is our semi-final. This is for, the ACGL, AGC, Open Valorant semi-final. Grand finals on the line. That's going to be played tomorrow. It's the big crowning LAN event for Valorant in South Africa. So this is a big one, and obviously you want to see the best possible teams. You want to see the best possible players, and you want to see the most exciting games. And of course, this is the perfect way for us to kick that one off. So Baldwin instantly going to get that little bit of early information, but look how quickly Craig move in to fill that gap, and now spamming down, so ready for that space to stop being taken. Sway's going to pop his own little run it back here, trying to find the info, but again, not Craig. Call and response.
Did they overcomplicate their A fake? They had spike towards A main, right? They do heavy fighting into B main, and then they just continue to commit for the spam, right? Defenders are never going to rotate off of spam because it means they haven't lost control if they're still shooting. So Painter's still here, ready to receive. A couple of warning shots, but trying to get that first kill is a bit of a struggle. Looking for the first one. Jace is going to clean up 2 kills off the back of that. Spike's still in A main. Cypher's towards mid, trying to reinforce, trying to reassess the damage done, but time is hurting right now.
They sent out the drone as well to clear out as much of mid as possible, but it didn't spot out Raisin, so that's going to allow him to get the kill onto his counterpart. Regardless, Not Craig still have the numbers advantage here. However, they do need to start spreading themselves out a little bit, but with 30 seconds remaining, they haven't pushed on to A, so chances of a rotation are fairly high, and so we're seeing they're huddling in towards the defender's spawn, waiting to be able to respond to where that noise is made. Dean, beautiful little angle held there. It's an absolute pixel, but he finds that kill, and that's going to leave Raisins all alone. Spam off the back of the flash, and it's not Craig. Well, Fear called, not Craig responded.
Yeah, and that's what 100% success rate post timeout for both teams. They still have one timeout in pocket each. As not Craig playing a really, really good game, like I mentioned, right? If your team is spamming towards B main as defenders, you don't need to move. You can stay where you are, because them spamming means they're alive. Them being alive means there's no problem. There's no problems on B side. So
this goes here.
Craig handling that really, really well, and Jade's cleaning up two really big kills on the back of Painter's contact. Yeah, the deficit reduced to 2. They still have 3 more mistakes to make, as not Craig leaning heavily towards this A side of the map. As the saturate lands, Dean struggling in slow motion as Baldwin with some really, really good mechanics there finds that kill.
Good little bit of damage done there, but not quite able to finish his meal. Unfortunately, that's not the way that Not Craig were hoping for that to kick off. They've actually been waiting for those waylay plays to try and respond to them, and this time around, Baldwin was just kind of ready for that. Oh my God, how has Raisins found that much space just absolutely for free? And now with that kill, Neural Theft's going to be able to come out, so that gives over a lot of information. Yes, they do lose Raisins off the back of that, but they now have information on where the encroaching hordes are coming from. Sway ready for this push. Beautiful timing on that one. Catches Painter on the rotation with only 2 players remaining and the spike planted. It's an uphill battle for the final 2 Not Craig players. have to try and isolate some of these fights. And the sheer number of angles that need to be cleared here to find the space necessary to go for this retake as that spike continues to tick down, it's just not worth the push. So instead, they'll back away, hold on to their weapons, and Fear will extend their lead.
Yeah, they left B wide open as Craig, as they gambled for an A stack, they gambled for a tree split, and it just came up nothing, right? I think there was a bit of I think they misdiagnosed. I think that's going to be what my take on that is. I think they heard the spam towards B main, knew that it was an A fake towards, or from the pre-round, right? They gambled that because the B fake didn't work in the previous round, they're going to go for an A fast this one. So they reinforce, bolster towards that A side of the map, leaving B wide open and just giving Raisins basically a red carpet, walks into their spawn and finds that kill on the rotating jet. So Stale, with that operator, it seems, holding down that top mid area, might find a lot of value here, but Baldwin, with these mechanics and with that waylay mastery, is making things very difficult to try and isolate that first blood.
One round away from map point here. Yeah, I think they can kind of taste victory just on the horizon. Baldwin again now clearing out most of mid, information-wise. And they know that, you know, in at least one round, Craig has kind of given over space for that and then followed up on the waylay. This time around, not doing the same thing. So trying to keep Fear on their toes. What a shot from Raisins. They were waiting for him, and he still lands it. Fear caught with something in hand. Shot not landing through the wall, but that's okay. The Hunter's Fury finds its purchase. And yes, Stale Russian is quick to fall by the wayside, but it leaves us in the 3-on-3. Never mind, we trade again. Spike hasn't actually committed yet now, so Sway actually backs away, and look at how much space is being cleared over towards A, so that means that they can start moving that Spike over, and I think that they're very much aware of the fact that both of the Not Craig players were over towards kind of defender spawn to B, so they know that they have pathing, but now that run it back from Dean is going to be popped, and okay, you know what, even if all it got was information, that would have been big, but no, a double kill and a definite defuse.
Are they going to optimize the ultis going down the line? Oh, yeah, I mean, you can give it to Phoenix. He's going to get it again. But Dean, in very, very sharp form here, going into that, finding 3 kills. That's a really expeditious flood from him.
Okay, Painter,
really, really well done from him. What are the odds? What are the odds that he just doesn't defuse?
No, it's not happening. 12 seconds remaining. There was no world.
You never know. People have died for the aura before. So.
Yeah, I mean, there was that one time. Okay, this was in a different game, but G2 just flat out forgot to defuse the you know, I mean, that does happen sometimes. They're like, yeah, we won, and then
100 Thieves at EWC almost failed to defuse the spike in the grand final.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the really simple things that get you.
But speaking of simple things, right, an overcomplication in the previous round resulted in just Dean being able to go heaven, find get really quickly towards that A side of the map, and with that runner back finding 2 kills to close it out. So
my camera is destroyed.
Yeah, overcomplicating things slightly. Not Craig finding a formula that's working for them, and we're going to go into a really, really wide default. Is Spike towards? It's moving towards
A. Yeah, that's going to be on.
Still, yeah.
What? Oh, okay. Raisins thinks that mid is safe enough to walk into, and you know, fair enough. It's not often you're going to have an op that close up mid, but you have to be cognizant of the possibility. There is a trade-off though. Sway able to get that pull back. Oh, the double kills coming through here. The runner back to try and clear sight. It's not going to get too much more, but there you go. Still gets a kill off the back of that. Somehow, Baldwin's managed to find one as well. The plant's going to come through, and the last 2 players standing for Not Craig have a huge task on their hands. Oh my god. He's done it again. Can we turn this into a 4th round conversion, or will Not Craig find a way to stabilize? Ultimate used here to reposition. Yes, indeed. It's not an info play. He's in the smoke there. He gets caught. It's all down to Painter. Sway with a 4K, but obviously it was the converging paths. That's what did it.
Yeah, we'll put it on the converging paths. Not Sway's runner back that found not 1, not 2, but 3 kills and a molly to do a bit of chip damage on that runner back. So yeah, in a really good spot here. I think they're being 1 map up in a best of 3 is oftentimes the best situation. You don't have to rally as much. You can just
you
sort of
say
play your game.
oftentimes. It's always the best situation.
You never know. The reverse sweep, silver scrapes are a thing, right? So Momentum's a cruel mistress. She doesn't pick sides. But right now, Momentum and Fate leaning towards Fear. as they're going to go towards his A side. No ultis in hand. His A site is relatively vacant. Not a single agent on site. Just Cypher Util holding up residence.
The entirety of Not Craig are moving over towards the
Another
B side.
gamble.
And I think that this is an eco round. We've got the Blade Storm out as well. This is the worst possible way for this round to go, for this map point to be. The first kill comes through. The Blade Storm's going to get absolutely nothing. Baldwin's going to spot yet another one up towards Heaven. But already they've managed to push their way in on towards the site. Fear the Beast in a little bit of trouble here, but is able to back away. They can't stop the spike from being planted. Sway with another massive multi-kill. He does get taken down, but he's done so much, and it's all down to Jades. Finds that first kill. 3 more and a defuse must be found. Full HP, rechargeable shield. So there's potential here. But look at this wraparound as well. Raisins is going to get all the way into Heaven. There's going to be an angle covered from every single opportune place. And not even going to need the flank. It's Quinn to get the final kill. And call and response be damned. It's Fear. They take this first map.
Yeah, walking away with a relatively shaky defense half, all things considered. But going into that attack side, Fear came alive. I think that's the big thing. They kept it simple. They played their own game. They played towards their win cons. They played towards their ultimates quite efficiently. Their Phoenix use was arguably exemplary, as they're going to get the first map on the board, making a lot of the Fear fans proud. The Fear org, something to be considered. Not feared, right? So going into this, but we shouldn't count Craig out. No. Not at all, because going into Split, going into Sunset maps, once again, the veterans have played in multiple situations, have lost pretty intensive games on it. I know Jades has been really, really proficient in calling on maps like Split, ones that revolve around really heavy retake and really set defined ideas. So going into this, a bit of a head scratcher, how that game got away from you, but yeah, Paradise walking away with it. 24 and 12 on, no one else.
Cool.
Baldwin every day of the week here. 300 ACS is well deserved, and that's not even the full story.
Yeah.
100% ult conversion. How many refracts? How many times did he get away? How many first bloods did he get? I think Baldwin played out of his mind this series, and we need to expect something like that going into something like Split. Is he going to get the second duel list on Waylay, or is he going to be playing solo dive once again on Raze? A lot of things to consider here.
And bearing in mind, as you guys can see on the screen in front of you, that map was not Craig's pick.
Yep.
So for Fear to have stolen that away from them, it does leave so many more question marks, so many more concerns about what that split is going to look like. That's, of course, going to be Fear's pick, so we expect them to be feeling somewhat comfortable. But bearing in mind, obviously, not Craig going to get to start on that defensive side, so they at least have somewhat of a potential advantage in that sphere at the very least. But that's our first map of the semi-final, done and dusted. We hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did. The players are going to take a moment, quick little bio break, get a glass of water, and we will also take a short intermission when we come back. Will it be that 2-0, or are we going to get to Sunset on Sunset? Welcome back, everybody, to the ACGL AGC LAN, coming at you live from the Grand West Arena in Cape Town, where you are all welcome to come on in and join in on the fun. Maybe not tonight, it's a bit late tonight, but you can come join us tomorrow. Speaking of tonight, we are in the midst of our very first semi-final for the Open Valorant. Fear taking on Not Craig, and it has been a fairly close affair. But we do have some concerns because Fear took that first map and it was not Craig's map pick. We head on now over to Split. Fear's map pick, their home ground, their comfort rigor. What are kind of our expectations here?
I think obviously with Cypher and Val, you're always scared of the Sage pick coming up at random times.
Are we?
Yes. Terrified, deathly. So going into Split, I ideally like the more standardized comps, right? Oftentimes you might see the Sentinels 2024 Madrid run comp, the double controller single Sentinel comp. We have seen speed of light comps come into relevance. The Sky, the double dive, Waylay plus Neon. We have seen different iterations of the double controller, double initiator comp. Solo double controller with no Sentinel, Viper acts as the anchor. So there's a lot of things that could be at play here. I think, especially if you're playing Fear, you do have the Astra in pocket, right? So the Beast showcased at least the initial layers of how to play Astra at a really high level with the defaults. Right? They have the glimmers, the sparks of inspiration at times. So going into Split, it's going to be a bit of a interesting endeavor, right? A is oftentimes defensively the site where you want to be retaking more often than not. B is going to be that site where you just want to just straight hit it, right? Have the confidence to go for it, have the confidence to just walk up mid, smoke off vents, take a B main, take a B heaven fight and execute onto B. So we're going to see, coming into this, you want to see Fear start off really aggressively, start off really, really confidently. If they're not going to start off confidently, it might slip away from them. But Craig, on the other hand, have a bit of an uphill battle, right? They not only have to buck the trend of losing that previous map, but also get enough confidence to play the game they want to play.
Yes.
Force their ideals, their personalities, and everything onto the server. And if they struggle to do that, then it's going to be a 2-0 Fear game.
And what I love about this map as well is, while we're kind of speculating on compositions, the potential for flood retakes, particularly for something like on a site like B, where you can really kind of get into the nook crannies with your utility. And if you're running that Astra, using those stars to make it impossible to get away from all the utility that's kind of flying towards you. There's a lot of potential here for that. But here we go. We've got our compositions. And interestingly enough, we do have a Waylay. None of those neons, but we're going to lean a little bit more into that raise. And, well, thank heavens, no Sages to be seen.
I'm gonna fall back here.
Yeah, going into this first pistol is going to be a bit of aggressive. A lot of util traded in that mid area. 4 people mid for Fear, ready to receive here. The spam's coming through. Bolden trying to get some chip damage, but Refracts to get out. And the first kill is Ginger Man, so is the second. Raze is going to trade it out. Raisin's finding that kill, stabilizes things a bit, but look at the Sentinel. There's a snake in the grass, a snake in vents. Can he capitalize? Can he open up the round a bit more? But Raisin's going to get another trade. Shuffles up the rope is the Beast, and Stale's going to take his head off. Baldwin follows, 1 man standing. Raisin's 1 HP. Not much you can do to 3v1. Fear falling apart here.
The USB kills were unreasonable. First from Ginger Man, followed up by, was it Stale that got that double? Yeah. Very, very impressive. So Raisins has a pretty tough ask on his hands. But here's the thing. The entirety of Not Craig have actually cleared away from vents. With that smoke coming down, you know what? Raisins doesn't know this. We know this. He could have just gone B. Could have planted for absolutely free, but instead opted to push towards the A side. He doesn't have the information. He'll run straight into a stack. Stale finds his third, and it's another pistol round for the Fear lads.
Yeah, that's a really big pistol on the back of, we spoke about mid and forcing your personality onto the server, fighting through that mid area. They have 4 people in mid ready to receive. They sort of sack that A side, sack that B side, and find a lot of value, a lot of potency fighting through that mid. So a bit of paranoia, a bit of fear here in that Fear side, avoiding mid almost in its entirety, leaning towards A main, trying to snowball a bit of ult economy, it seems. There's no Phoenix where you can fast track an ulti here, so pistols are going to be the name of the game, but not the most potent weaponry yet.
You have a little bit of a hold to... Nope, actually, immediately backing away. They're going to give over mid relatively for free here. Spike left behind just in case things go awry, can be recollected, and so it shall be. A lot of space taken into the defender's spawn. And the first altercation goes the way of Ginger Man. Oh god, the timing on that is very unfortunate. A little bit of damage being done here by Sway, but can't quite finish that meal, and unfortunately he can very easily get wrapped on. That's the spike lost in the defender's spawn. This is not the map to be going on the round the world adventures, and it does seem to go utterly awry here. Now, hand in hand, teaming up. We're going to do a little bit of cleanup onto the last remaining players. Jumping right-click shenanigans, but we'll finish it off with the knife kill.
The Painter went for the body spam, sent a couple of bullets into an already dead corpse, ran out of bullets, had to go for the knife, and delivers one cleanly between the ribs, finds a second round for Fear, or second round for not Craig rather, as they're on the fast track to actually potentially getting an early lead here, right? The perfect 5 is winning this first 3, winning this rifle round is massive, upgrading, then winning the next anti-eco, and then winning the final rifle to win 5 rounds plus an ult round. So they're on track for it, but now they're up against rifles, up against more equal weaponry here.
Well, this is exactly how Ascent started.
Yep.
The first 2 pistol rounds went the favor of Not Craig, and the moment that we had rifles in hand, that's when Fear started to kind of come alive a little bit here. So Not Craig, I think, need to be somewhat weary of that possibility that maybe something similar can happen. So for now, they've got a little bit more of a passive position, but I do like that they've reinforced mid a lot more. However, you and I know Spike's moving its way up in towards A heaven. The camera has spotted out 2, but Painter finds that opener on to Sway. A beautiful way to open things up, but Baldwin's going to trade it back using that waylay utility to absolute perfection. Unfortunately, it means that they have to start giving up a lot of that space.
Yeah, rushing down towards A, and they're going to retreat, trying to carry that spike over towards the B side of the map, as they are going to trade contests in terms of space. So Fear, Quinn holding all of B main, doesn't know what's happening inside of B main, doesn't even know if the orb is alive or active. So leading towards this B side of the map, going to be very assiduous with clearing their corners here.
I like how aggressive Dean is willing to be as well, just straight out of A. I kind of want him to break that trap wire. Yep. Because then you don't have that later on. You don't have that kind of secondary warning system for the possibility of a lurk. But it doesn't look like he's going to do so. In fact, starts backing away as the exec starts coming in on towards the B site. Up close and personal in the smokes, but Jades is getting wrapped on. He's going to have to make his way through Gingerman before he has an opportunity here. And no, it's a double kill from the defenders, and yet despite that, we're still battling back. 2 on 2, 6 seconds remaining. Spike starts to get planted. Dean is not in the right place. The spike got stopped. The spike got stopped. I thought they committed the plant, and they didn't.
It's on the back of Jade jumping into that smoke with the judge, killing the planter immediately. And then Dean, I think, floods out of B heaven to kill the guy who's going for the replant, right? So there's a lot of lost time there where you're just trying to rally, pick up the spike, and then try and get that spike down. So if that's the state of this game, Not Craig walking away with it, optimizing in ways that, you know, are making these 50-50s or even like the really contentious 41-49s really, really tight to deal with, and it comes down to those edges, right? So going towards this A site, they've explored mid, they've explored B, they haven't fully explored A, so let's see if they're going to be a bit more experimental with this round.
We said getting to start on the defender side might just be the boon that they need. Straight over the trap wire, in onto the site. Baldwin very aggressively takes that space. And again, opting not to pull back, absolutely no reason to. There's no one here to slow them down. Raisins finds the opener onto Dean. It's taken a little bit, but we get an opening frag. And with the spike already planted and the lurk coming through ropes, this could be absolutely devastating. And there it is. Fear the Beast activates. He does get traded, however. We get a double kill coming through from Not Craig. Brings them back into a doable scenario. Showstopper out, lands beautifully into the 2-on-2. And the smoke comes down to try and cover the attempt at the defuse. They're aiming in the wrong place.
Stale, man.
And I love that Stale is just holding the line, allowing for that defuse. Oh my god, Raisins shuts down the defuse. They did get it to half, but he just keeps spraying into the smoke. Massive clutch from the Omen.
Yeah, didn't even get eyes on those last 2 targets. Stale did everything he possibly could to try and deny that, but Stale unfortunately can't stick the spike faster than the standard 3.5, and Fear gets their first round on the board in a very Pyrrhic fashion, right? It's very scrappy. They took a lot of damage to do it. Quinn is relegated to just a Guardian here. And the shields are all over the place, right? But they get their first round on the board, right? The goal right now, the win con for them, is to get that ulti. Baldwin is 1 off of that convergent pass with 100% success rate. B main is where you want to start. Arguably the easiest orb to get. You're not caught in a double exposure, but gonna up towards mid. A kill will do it. A kill will guarantee that conversion pass online for post plant.
Again, going for a little bit of a mid-split here. Information garnered up and towards Heaven, so they know that they can go that way if they want to, or at least they suspect that they could, but the re-clear comes through from the Prowler, so they're not going to opt for that one. Oh, Baldwin just walks through the ropes area. Knees get spotted out and spammed down. So now they know they're definitely not doing that. And while the Prowler did come through from the Heaven side, a re-clear here gives them a lot of space to work with. But look at this rotation out of A. That has been a crazy round-the-world adventure that could pay off incredibly well. They already have a numbers advantage, so Not Craig can definitely leverage this to their favor. It is, of course, still a very unfavorable scenario for them at the moment in terms of weaponry, but a little bit of extra damage could be all they need. Unfortunately, Ginger Man does get caught out, not going to be given the opportunity. The one rifle is taken away, and while Stale Russian is able to get a little bit of damage done here, cleanup certainly not on the cards. A second kill. The push from Heaven as well. They need to be wary of that. They heard the satchels. Oh my god, the shot from Heaven. Stale. And that is an unreasonable round to walk away with.
Yeah, you can't be going away with that. Starts with the Bandit, finds 2 kills, upgrades to a Phantom, and closes it out. Is Stale with a really characteristic performance, right? If anyone who knows Stale, they know that this is in his wheelhouse. This is what you expect him. This is the level that you expect him to be performing at, right? So finding 2 kills with that Bandit, the recently buffed Bandits as well. Very tappy as he finds 2 kills there. Forces a timeout here. Convergent Pots online, Nightfall online. There's potentially a play. Everyone knows the play. Nightfall towards A main from the shadows on Omen. TP into that CT area. Catch people in the confusion and probably chase down with the Waylay double dash. So there's a Pingu?
Is it a Pingu?
Can you focus? Like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Stop looking at the penguin.
No, but look how
we're
cute.
watching Valorant. What is this?
He's so cute, though. He's chilling. Listen, there's nothing better than a mascot. Nats has a mascot. These guys can have a mascot.
Okay, fine. They can have a mascot. Whose mascot is it? Does anyone know?
Hey, it's probably one of the girls, Gab / Cherry. Lending that over. Yeah, he gets his time in the sun as well. Things we love to see. Okay, we can go back to the game now.
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to talk about this
Listen
anymore.
here, Rigger, you get paid to cast.
Oh, yeah.
We get paid per word, so it's time to start talking.
Going into this round, I think big ult round, especially if you're Fear, right? You're kind of behind on the cadence in terms of winning those big clutch situations, especially that phase 4, that late round scenario. So you have those ultis. We have a convergent pass. We have a user of the convergent pass who has 100% conversion rates, especially with those ultis. So Bolden, definitely your man to go big here. Has the shorty in hand, so we're going to see some kind of Goomba Stomp shenanigans here.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, with it being, we've kind of Uno reverse carded on what the economy looks like here. So I don't know how many of these ultimates we're going to see in this round. I will say Fear is a team that hasn't shown much hesitation to use ultimates, even in low buy rounds, even in eco rounds. If they feel like they can take an advantage, they're happy to throw those ultimates in. For the moment, it's just a little bit of poke and prod, looking to garner some info before there's a commitment.
They're very scattered here, no? Spikes towards B main. I guess they have the From the Shadows. They want to kind of fast TP the spike towards A, but Stale Russian's going to spot out the Beast. The Beast in a really precarious situation. No shields and Outlaw watching him, and Outlaw finding him. Stale has one more bullet in hand, but it's just going to back up, yeah? Spike is a long way from home and even further from one of the sites, so 40-second timer. They have to make a decision soon.
Well, it's going to have to be this A site. They've already started pulling the spike over. Baldwin's incredibly low on health here and no utility to work with to try and move in. They've managed to bait out that extra shot, and there you go. Stale pushes out to get aggressive, gets punished. Dean with a double, dips back into the smoke. Some flashes out as well just to ensure that he can survive that little bit longer. So backs away into Heaven. 4 versus 2. Advantage for Not Craig. Looking to press that even further. The spike now has been planted. And rifles haven't really been recovered here for Fear. So as much as they've got that spike down and they've got a little bit of momentum to work with, they don't really have the weaponry to play with. Pinch it in from every direction, but it's Dean with the 4K to close it out.
Yeah, and that's on the back of, we spoke about them being really proficient with their ultis, especially in the previous round, using some of those ultis to equalize some of the gun deficit that they were at, but very, very hesitant to pull the trigger on any of their ultis, and now they're in a Nova state. That's the protocol oftentimes, where you have 5 ultis, right? You're going into a round full shield, full gun, all util, right? And you kind of need to spend one of them, right? Your deficit is at 4 rounds here. Raze ulti secures you 1 round. Waylay ulti secures you another. Fade ulti laid with an Omen ulti secures another. There is no reason why Fear can't close this gap.
Well, I mean, there are reasons, but it's not going to be the ultis, right?
Yeah, true.
Let's see if they can leverage themselves into a more comfortable position. We're going full death ball towards the B site, and as we know, not the worst idea. Fairly solo held, but immediately with that little bit of utility coming forward, that's going to be Not Craig coming in to kind of close that gap straight out into the open. Showstopper finds Stale, shuts down the run it back, but unfortunately Raisins has been lost, which means they don't have their smokes anymore. The Nightfall was invested as well, and immediately they've had to back away. They've pulled rotations over towards B. The Haunts come out and spotted, the Haunt came out, spotted nothing, so now they have to start moving all the way over towards the A site. That very slight re-clear gives them that inkling that, okay, maybe they're not going to keep pushing B, but maybe they are. With a minute remaining, who knows? Free space over towards A. Trapwire shut down. Now the cavalry has arrived. It's still a 4-on-4. The counter Nightfall comes out. Baldwin, tries to dodge it. Not quite able to. Painter finds one. Dean follows it up, and this is all falling apart at the seams. What a recovery for Not Craig.
I don't know what to tell you. I genuinely have no idea what to tell you. I think they're over-indexed into the ultis. They banked so much on using all of those ultis to layer and try and find one round, and they found sight. I think they could have used the conversion pass a bit more intelligently there. They could have used the Raze ulti to great effect, but I think this is one of those things, this is when it hurts you, right? You kind of put all your eggs in one basket. When the basket falls, it shatters everything. So trying to recover some kind of weaponry. Is there an operator that they lost along the way? Is the chain keeps trugging. Craig in a really advantageous spot, a 5-round lead here going into map 2.
That's such a terrifying round as well. They invested so much. I saw the look on your face, man.
Yeah, incredulity. A complete and utter bewilderment.
Yeah, no, that was a hectic one. But you got to give it to Not Craig. I mean, they've just come off of a pretty devastating defeat just because of how close it was.
Yeah.
And they're still able to just keep that train moving. Just the tenacity of our local players, absolutely unmatched. That's a 5-round lead for them. They had to invest quite a bit in that last round as well, but for them it was all in the name of maintaining the lead that they continue to build, and they still do have a lot to work with here. Presence confirmed in towards mid. Very interesting trade-off. Baldwin dies, but there's a follow-up, and that takes out the enemy operator player.
Yep.
Go duelist for duelist.
I know exactly.
I think Not Craig possibly favored in this trade-off, but it does force them to have to slow down a little bit. Now Fear instead opting to pivot over towards A. Meanwhile, we've got a bit of a rotation coming. No, Cypher opts to stop. That's the right call. He's actually just given over a little bit of space. Meanwhile, a TP comes through onto the A site. The Spike is still posturing, but still very possibly, yes, will start to pivot. There's a lot of cooking going on in this Fear kitchen, and I fear that there might be a level of overcook. We do get a kill onto Jades. Meanwhile, the entirety of Not Craig have already moved over towards A, and there's free space on B for the plant.
Yeah, it's actually a big over-rotation from this Craig side, but in terms of Fear, that's a really good counter or like mid-round call to actually pivot back to where your race has found all of that space. And they're managing to regroup everyone. Quinn's going to plant the spike, start working towards that next ultimate, and B retake is the name of the game. So he's going to take a couple of shots. Shots fired immediately, trying to disengage from this fight. 2 get scanned with that Haunt, and Fear the Beast is going to find the first kill. Paint is going to fall. 2v2, 3v1 rather. Sway's going to find the kill onto Dean, and it's all on Ginger Man's shoulders. Ginger Man, a man who has a lot to do with not a lot of utility at his avail, and Fear the Beast is going to find him almost immediately. A really well-played round in the mid-round from Fear.
A bit of a slow recovery on that one, and I'll admit it, I said, ooh, maybe they're overcooking this a little bit here, but it does work out quite nicely for them. It was actually Not Craig that kind of like you said, over-rotated a little bit, start taking space without really leaving any of those contingency plans in place. Maybe the panic starts to set in, but they're still at a 4-round lead, so they're not really feeling the danger just yet. We'll see how things go in this next round. They've now got that showstopper online, so a lot of firepower to possibly back them up.
Yeah, they don't look like they're willing to commit to any idea at the beginning. Look where the spike is, all the way in spawn.
For now, it's an info gathering play. They've taken out that trap wire. No one there to swing on it. It's just an info wire. But they know that mid has been pressured basically every round, so this should come as no surprise to them. We know how important and impactful the mid position can be. Now, bearing in mind, you mentioned it, the spike is still over towards spawn, but there is an Omen TP available. So if they can set that up for a potential bait and switch scenario, there's a good chance that maybe they can turn things back in their favor even. And with those first 2 opening kills, site's not quite clear just yet. There's still more to deal with. Shotgun operator, all right, Stale, fair enough. Bomb was actually recovered instead of opting to use the ultimate. They pick it up by hand, but Not Craig haven't over-rotated this time. Unfortunately, they're slowly hemorrhaging players. Only 2 remaining. Spike has been planted. Now Painter with a tough ask on his hands. Oh my god, it finds one, but despite that, it doesn't actually near sight anyone, so it brings down to the 1 versus 1. Everything on the line, it feels like momentum could shift at any moment. Gingerman, a tough ask on his hands. He was in a 1vx in the end of the previous round. Now it's a 1v1. Footsteps have been heard. Raisins knows where he is.
Oh my god!
The mind games. Beautiful 3K there. Beautiful tap. This wheel just keeps turning.
Yeah, that's a crazy round from Gingerman. Coming up big. What's the phrase? Big play in a big game. As he shows up big, shows up massively for his team there. Fear struggling quite dramatically towards this attack side, right? They are leaving a lot of their option plays open, which is, I think, theoretically really, really good, but it also delays the speed of your response when you should be capitalizing on enemy teams' mistakes. And as a result, they're on a really mixed buy. There's a Sheriff and a Judge in pocket, and they've been struggling to even get their basic win con. They haven't managed to cycle an ulti. They haven't managed to get onto site without it being somewhat Pyrrhic. So going into this one, they're up against the wall, run it back, and a showstopper in pockets for Craig.
Cage triggered.
Feel that tension start to build now. But I like that we've gone to a more kind of defaulty style for Fear. They have been kind of full sending a little bit more often than maybe we'd like to see. So we've gone back to kind of basics here. Unfortunately, they're still just kind of getting outgunned in a lot of these situations. I mean, immediately we get that opening frag from the op, and look at the immediate rotation over as well. Dynamic opping, exactly what you want to see. They're like, all right, the op's on A, let's start pushing forward. JK, the op is here in heaven, and it's just waiting for an opportunity. It's going to be the showstopper, followed up by the op kill. Stale gives absolutely no quarter. The 3K from him sets them up for success. Not Craig running away with the second map.
Yeah, and it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for Fear. It doesn't get much easier when they get on that defensive side. But we spoke about the difference in comps and the different kind of weaknesses, right? Just seeing one of the side effects of picking that Viper or the Cypher instead of picking a Viper in that slot. You have nothing to respond to the fast hit. You have nothing to control mid or contest mid. You have nothing to even sell a fake, right? So everything is very, very one note from both teams. So also, if you look on the other side, if you're a Fear fan looking for any kind of hopium, the problems you're experiencing right now are potentially the problems that you can exploit going into the next half.
And we only have 2 rounds left in this one. We can talk about the next half until the cows come home, but if you go into the next half at a 10-2 deficit, you're not going to have much of a second half to work with on paper. We've seen crazier things happen, but realistically, generally speaking, you're not going to have a whole hell of a lot to work with. So here we go. Already scaling their way up. The run it back comes out. Does get shut down. A little bit of damage done off the back of it, but that's okay. Information garnered, but Not Craig not looking to over-rotate as they have before. Gingerman tucked into the corner. It's a triple kill for him. Dean follows it up, and now Baldwin, the world on his shoulders. We spoke about Sisyphus yesterday. Today it feels like it's Atlas. And there's so much to be done. At least in the next round, they'll have money. But in this round, it's Ginger Man with a 4K.
Yeah, Ginger Man impact, and he's giving it across the stage. I mean, well-deserved. Ginger Man was struggling to find a lot of value in that previous map, but turned up this one, right? Remembered who he was, remembered his capability as a player, remembered his capability as a Sentinel. In general, Ginger Man, one of the previous Synthesis players.
Yeah.
He's worn purple in his previous life, and now he's wearing not Craig in this one. So finding a lot of value here, 14-6 on Ginger Man, as, like you mentioned, the precipice of a 10-2 half is daunting.
You saw an attack side Odin. I don't know if you like black that out.
Oh no, I completely blocked that from memory.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. Nobody wants to try and think about that. All right, immediately Nightfall comes out. Showstopper quick to follow. Sway. Yeah, I kind of saw that coming a mile away. Gets completely run over. Baldwin gets tagged up, so he's gonna get deleted. All of that investment into this round, and it is for absolute North. Raisins is on site with the spike, doesn't have a chance to pop off. The Odin, however, finds the double kill. Neural Theft follows, but Raisins is down, and now the Odin needs to find 2. The spike hasn't been planted, and the Beast not really going to have an opportunity to recover a rifle, so has to try and take this space with the Odin. Immediately spotted out by the camera. Any opportunities slowly whittling away from him. We're now, encroaching on the 40-second mark. So there's that tiny little bit of time to play with. But if he wants to try and clutch out this round, get that third for the elusive 9-3 half, it's going to have to be pixel perfect. He's been given a little bit of space to work with here. They've allowed him to re-clear towards the site and potentially go for the recovery on the spike. They should have line of sight on it. Oh my god, I thought he slipped the needle there, but no, he didn't.
No
Spams
way.
come down. First shot lands from the Odin. He's going to go for the plant. The spam isn't coming through the wall, so they still get the plant. Jades is TP'd, and I'm sure that the cam picked it up.
No
the Odin,
way.
the Odin is deleted, and it's Jades to clutch the round.
Yeah, that was scary. That's scary scenes. Almost replicated what Ginger Man did to them the previous round. But a 10-2 half in safe hands, in the hands of the veteran Jades. As 10-2 is the half. We saw, what, 2 11-1s yesterday? And this is looking very, very favored towards the Not Craig side, right? Not Craig, in the previous AGC, made it to Grand Finals. They lost to Goblin Gang Gaming at the time, looking to repeat their appearance in the Grand Final at least. Yeah, still up in this series, 1-0, just struggling to find a lot of value on that attack side. But if they're looking to make some kind of comeback, mount some kind of resistance here, starts here, right? If you win the pistol, historically you win at least historically in this series, you win the next couple of rounds, at least equalize this to a potential 10-5. So looking for this pistol. Trying to be as proficient as possible, make sure that the guns are firing on all cylinders going into this. It seems like they're leaning towards some kind of A hold. Baldwin, potentially like a bat out of hell, looking to be explosive, yeah.
Don't miss me too much.
Now looking to kind of create a bit of a distraction because the spike's over towards B at the moment. So, Baldwin getting up close and personal and finding a bullet to the brain. They're making all of this noise. They're pulling all of the rotations. This plan is working perfectly. The spike's making its way over towards the B site now, completely uncontested. It's going to be planted with no pushback whatsoever. Raze is going to be able to regroup with the rest of the team, so it's a 5-person post plant and enough time to get themselves into a position to shut down this attempt at a retake. Now, there's not going to be a whole lot of utility to work with for this retake, and of course, Cypher very, very low on health at the moment. They've set up the high-low. They've set up the crossfire from Garage as well. This feels like an unwinnable scenario for Fear, and it's one that they desperately need to make happen. Util starts to fly out. The defenders make their way onto the site, but they will be whittled down one by one. Ginger Man with the 3K, and that is 11 rounds for Not Craig.
You have to force here. You have to force here. Back against the wall. You don't want to sacrifice another round, whittle down your mistakes to a single round. They are going to pop the timeout. They still have another one in pocket should they want to use it, but the first parachute being pulled, emergency is still in reserve, as a lot of analysis to be done here, right? You've lost so many rounds, you don't have enough attack rounds to actually get a feel for what it is you just walked into, right? You don't know if what happened to you is there's a gap in your coverage or they just bypassed it, if it's a once-off, right? So maybe it's just composing yourself. right? Maybe the lights got too bright that first round. Maybe you just need to compose, take a deep breath, get some time to think, give your IGL some time to cook. But this Fear side, coming into this, relatively new as an org. A couple of these players attending their very first LAN. Surrounded by veterans who've won their various games, a couple of tournaments here and there. Need to dig deep from everybody involved. It's a full-man, 5-man effort here if you want to rally this, but I think a force on the cards here for sure.
I must say, shout out to the crowd.
Yep.
Like, we've got almost a full house here of people that have stayed a little bit later than expected, but they're here to watch the semifinals. They're here to celebrate the magic that is South African Valorant. So thank you guys for being here. It's much appreciated. You guys are welcome to get a bit louder, you know. We would love to hear it. We need to hear you guys, hear your support for these teams. Particularly, you know what, if you're a Fear fan, I think they could desperately use that little bit of energy. But here we go. Timeout. Done and dusted. Not Craig 1 round away from map point here and 2 away from that sunset map 3.
And it's going to be a default as Raisins being very expeditious here. A very ambitious approach here. He has the Sting up close range, so see if he can rob a Stinger or Bulldog off of Stale, but Stale being very assiduous, trying to clear through everything.
They're not going to check him. Bro, if that had ended up in a double, I think I would have absolutely lost my mind. But there you go, double swing comes through, and they do manage to shut him down, trade him out. How much of a difference is that going to make? Baldwin is able to refract back to safety. And that gives that little bit of info that, hey guys, there's quite a bit of pressure moving its way up towards heaven. But instead, we'll see Not Craig start to pull back. Boombot goes out to see if there's anyone pushing up sewers. It doesn't actually get a lot of purchase, so it doesn't spot out really anything. Meanwhile, the rotation's coming through all the way through the attacking spawn.
Defenders are very flat-footed here. They haven't heard anything on towards A, and they're not making any attempts
left.
to reclear anything. So 30-second warning's got to go down. You got to recognize they're not even an A main anymore.
Oh, Baldwin backed away. The timing on that is unreal. I thought Gingerman and Baldwin were going to come face-to-face in a little bit of a standoff, but no, backs away. Gingerman does actually find him regardless. Gingerman opened things up for Not Craig, and he's going to keep that going. But no, it's going to be a Paint Shells that finds the kill onto Painter. Funnily enough, you're not going to get to use these Paint Shells, unfortunately. 2-on-2 now with the spike planted. Retake must come through for Fear. They cannot afford to lose this round. The Stinger now up close and personal, as you said.
Oh my God! Whoa, 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 whoa! I didn't know he moved like that. Holy! Fears with an eco, with the Stinger, finds 4 kills.
My Stinger doesn't do that, bro.
Demonic Stinger does, though.
Demonic Stinger does. And apparently so does his, but mine definitely doesn't.
Yeah, Quinn, one of those veterans. He's one of those veterans you mentioned beforehand and digs deep, as well as, was it Raisins? Yeah, the 2 veterans, the 2 RX duo that came into Fear. Basically single-handedly win them that round, right? Obviously, Sway finding a big Pain Shells kill equalizes the numbers, and on low HP, they managed to get those kills, make those guns sing, and giving themselves another lifeline, yeah.
They're not out of the woods just yet. All right, that's one of many that needs to be strung together, but it's a step in the right direction. Oh, the timing on that smoke just throws the aim off a little bit. And it's actually Sway himself that takes the damage. Meanwhile, not a lick onto his enemy. The judge not finding any shots. Never mind. Double kill with 1 shot, and Quinn perfectly poised to follow it up with a triple. Quinn stepping up here in the second half.
Yeah, it's a really big round from Quinn in 2 rounds. That's what, 4 kills over 2 rounds, and he saves Baldwin's life as well. The judge is preserved for another round or upgraded to another piece of weaponry. And now Quinn, crucial piece of util, right? We have to take these rounds step by step. Nightfall now in hand and a bunch of ultis waiting in the wings, right? So if you want to optimize, if you want to secure more long-term victory, 2 objectives. A, retake with that Nightfall, and B, how do you stack up your next ulti? That's going to be the 2 goals that Fear needs to work on, yeah.
Very curious to see how much value can be found with this Odin. We actually saw an unreasonable amount of value a little bit earlier on, so maybe they can replicate that, particularly with this very strong angling early on in the round towards the A site. Little bit of noise made over towards B, but not enough to get Fear over-rotating. Smoke's being set up, shutting down some sight lines, creating a bit of space. The run it back comes out to just clear things out a little bit more. That Odin not going to be allowed to play in this round. Gingerman gets a beautiful little opener. Dean trying to clear out as much as possible with that run it back, and followed closely by Stale. Gets himself into a solid position, follows up with the Nightfall to try to reclaim the space, but straight into the Molotov goes Sway, and he will fall by the wayside. The Odin gets recovered. They're going to try and spam their way through, but Not Craig, not going to overstay their welcome when they know that there's an Odin to hand, so they'll back away, give over a little bit of space here. They can start firing down, but it's Fear with this retake making miracles happen, but Stale finds the double. Quinn has been a revelation on this defense, down to a 1v1, but time is not on his side. Jades is perfectly poised, and it's map point for Not Craig.
Yeah, and it starts off the back of Gingerman's massive anti-spam, right? He sees the traces in the smoke, recommits the spam, and finds that first kill, turns off Cypher's util, and enables a really, really fast sight hit here. So Quinn did all he could. He threw the Nightfall. He found 3 kills, but even if he did manage to find that 4th one, Spike is already ticking low, based off of the time bought by the Not Craig side. So match point here. A lot of pressure, and you have a neural theft to deal with. They find that first blood, neural theft, and they know exactly where you are. Can make a really good mid-round adjustment here, but Not Craig, not out of the fight yet. Baldwin with the judge, looking A main. And Sway finds an operator kill onto Dean. That's a start. That's a really excellent start here.
You take the Phoenix offline. One less pivot piece to have to worry about. Going into a bit of a poke setup here once again, looking to see if maybe they can catch any of the Fear players getting over aggressive. They want to try and trade off and maybe find themselves a little bit more of an advantage to play off. Yeah,
and Spike's moving towards A. I think that's their final destination, yeah, but they have one less body, and it is one of the really critical ones. Raze Kaiser needs Phoenix to enable and set up that first dive, so without that Phoenix, you have to be a bit more assiduous and a bit more careful.
You said Final Destination. Well, we all know how that movie ended. All of them.
They lived happily ever after?
Sure. Sure. They all died happily ever after. Oh, beautiful shot. The walk-up is fantastic. Just leaving utility to the wayside. But Fear the Beast, perfectly poised, finds that follow-up. Now, we do have a bit of a flank coming through from Ropes to try and create a bit of a pincer here. But it feels like maybe they're a little bit uncertain with only 3 players left alive and no real space taken. And time very much a problem. Of course, it's the TP over towards B, but they were ready for it. Beautifully predicted by Fear. 4 seconds left. Do they have time? No, they do not. This round is over, and Fear have another chance.
Now on the back of a really big kill from Sway, that operator finding Dean basically shut down the tempo, right? They have no more go button. They can't accelerate as fast as they would like to. And they got, like I mentioned before, very, very flat-footed in that round. So going into this, you do have a showstopper now. You can be dealing with a lot of those threats, but you have a lot of tools to deal with it. I don't know why you dry peek that. You have a Cypher cage to cage up mid. You have an Omen smoke, an Omen paranoia. You can just dissuade that operator from holding that angle. But if they're going to keep giving Sway those kills, he's going to keep taking them.
I must admit, I was pretty impressed with how Fear play that, not overly committing to the rotate.
Yep.
And I don't know if they knew how close he was to that from the shadows. But as soon as they tried to pop it over towards B, ready and waiting for that to shut it down and stop that attempt at a plant. Beautifully done, well orchestrated. And again, one more step, one more possibility. Now Stale gonna open up this round with the showstopper. That's the smokes offline. It's a huge opening as they start moving their way in on towards the site. Stale finds the follow-up kill. This could be the end of the line. The judge up close and personal gets circumvented completely. The swing is wide. The shots connect. And only 2 players now remain standing. The final pillars of Jericho must fall. The spike starts to tick away. Sway's got an op in hand. It's not ideal for a retake scenario. And they can use that horn to try and clear out a little bit of space. Oh, but it's a high-low. And there it is. The first shot lands. The follow-up is... Oh, my God. That got very, very scary for half a second. But Not Craig pull it over the finish line, and we have gone 1-for-1 in maps. We trade map picks, and we're going to get to Sunset on Sunset.
Yeah, the grand final, the semi-final is deserving of a best of 3, right? The grand final is deserving of a best of 5. As Not Craig pulled up their socks, managing to rally a lot of their nerves, calm down things a bit, play the game that they wanted to, and they come out on top. Like you mentioned, trading those map picks is already massive, especially for the mental. And Fear, I think, just got outclassed, especially towards that attack side.
Yeah. Surprising. I mean, you don't often see, at least on the first map, which was not Craig's pick, they kept it pretty competitive.
Yep.
For this being Fear's map pick, for it to have been this one-sided, it does leave a lot of concerns. I mean, this is meant to be your quote-unquote home ground, and they could not find that purchase, couldn't find their footing. A beautiful performance from Ginger Man as well. That Cypher went absolutely nuclear. I've got to give flowers to Quinn, though. A lot of those rounds that Fear were able to get came down to him getting multi-frags. If he doesn't do that, it's an even more one-sided affair.
Yeah, Quinn and Raisins, I think, played a big part in the fact that this game was as close as it was. Coming up big in the moments where we needed them to, but just struggling to find as much value in the first half. So going into Sunset, the rest of Fear need to pull up their socks somewhat, making sure that it's not just the Quinn and Raisin show, right? It's you win together as a team, you lose together as a team is the big narrative going into this. But that's a story for another time. We're going into Sunset. The sun might have fallen, but the sun sets still ahead of us in this BO3, the AGC semi-finals #1. And we'll see you guys after a short break.
Maybe. We might also just stand here staring at the camera awkwardly.
I'm not moving. I'm gonna stand here, look at the camera until
2 maps down, 1 to go. We are live here at the ACGL AGC, live from the Grand West Arena in Cape Town. It's our Valorant Open Division, a long, grueling day of a round robin group stage. So 3 best of ones, then the quarterfinal, and now our very first semi-final. 2 maps deep. Both teams trading their opponents' map picks, and we're gonna get our final showdown on Sunset. And I feel like we have not seen a whole lot of Sunset in the South African scene for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think it left relevance a while ago, since it hasn't been one of the ones that have been picked. However, it does make sense that when we get LANs again, Sunset comes back, right? The last time we played Sunset was in that 2023 LAN. Everything since then has been an assortment of all the other maps, but Sunset's one of those ones that people in South Africa seem relatively fond of, relatively favorable of. They'll like float it over past those first round of bans. So Fear up against Not Craig in this upper bracket semi-final 1. Opting to go to Sunset, floating it over, and now we have to see what their approach going into this is, right? The narrative right now going into this game. Craig struggled quite dramatically when it came to defense on Ascent, right? They struggled to find any proactivity going into anything. They couldn't develop any ideas, half the ideas of personality that they wanted, right? They then go to Split, and they just completely decimate. 10-2 at the half. Right, Fear had no way to respond. They didn't play the map in a way that was conducive for their comp to find future success, and they got on the bad end of that. Right, they ended up with a 13-5 scoreline. Now we're on Sunset, right? Sort of a love child between the two, right? You get the prevalent mid, which can branch into both sides, like on Ascent, but you also have mains that are such high prio, like on that Split. So. Going into comps, I think Baldwin should genuinely stick with the Waylay. I think his Waylay has been peerless, next to none. There's no way to actually compensate for the fact that his Waylay is that proficient, right? His old conversions are impeccable, but we're going to see a bit of a change halfway between the speed of Light Comp, and Neon going to be opted for it, but it seems like the defenders are going to keep that Phoenix.
Am I like... No, I'm not tripping. They've played the same comp for all 3 maps.
If they ain't broke. Keep it simple, right? I think they said they were a team of one tricks.
I mean, again, obviously the only change up being because you don't play Sova on Split. That's just trolling. So they had the Fade instead. But I think that's the only difference we've seen in that composition. So, you know what? Like you said, right? Go for something comfortable. Work that composition. Try to find the advantages where you can. Meanwhile, we're seeing the Neon coming out for the first time for Fear. And they're going to complement that with the Vise and the Fade. Immediately space being taken here. Spike hasn't quite committed yet. Oh my god, just completely unaware of the possibility. And meanwhile, Gingerman does find a follow-up. So as much as they've been spread all along the map, they are being caught a little bit unawares. Great timing on the paranoia, but Baldwin up above in the sky finds his. Unfortunately, does get traded. So we keep this kind of back and forth situation. Can't stop the spike from being planted, and Gingerman is now left once again in a clutch scenario. Raisins, what are we doing, homie? And just run straight out into the open. It's a free kill for Gingerman, but here's the thing. Now they know where Gingerman is, so they can keep their eyes trained, ready for the swing. Gingerman spots a shoulder there. Got a little bit of information. Dodges out the tag from the Fade Haunt.
Looked the wrong way.
Oh man, not quite finding purchase with the pistol. And there it is, first round, done and dusted.
Yeah, and if trends hold true, the team that wins the pistol is going to be leading towards the back end of this half. They get that first round conversion, they have guns going into that second, so big opportunity for Fear here. Get their foot in the door early and see if they can wedge it open. Give themselves a bit more momentum going into this after the ramshackle state of the previous map.
Big round. Let's see if Fear can keep the momentum going here. Feels like it's a point of pride as well between the two teams. You could see like the excitement, the attitude between the two teams, knowing that they've taken their opponent's map pick, each of them getting the, you know, get in my face type of attitude going. Into the judge, Baldwin takes no prisoners, and even a couple of follow-up shots just in case someone's cheeky enough to try and follow up. The rotation comes through. Fear the Beast with a nasty double. Yes, he gets traded, but a 2-for-1 special when you're literally playing to die, You're fine with that. Gives over the info. We've got 2 players moving in from the flank position, so everyone turns their attention. And these last 2 players, not long for this world. It's a follow-up round.
Yeah, that's 2 rounds on the board, and like you mentioned, Fear the Beast opted only for that Ghost on that attack side. A very, what's it called? Navi buy? FPX buy? 3 rifles and a Ghost, so really, really big round, and he found a lot of value out of it, finding 2 kills, doing a lot of damage, and that Vice ulti might have been the gap, right? If they had Vice on that split, they might have had a slightly easier time. That Rose Garden does tend to disable a site hold in its entirety, especially when layered with a Neon of any variety. So Fear in an advantageous position, stacking slowly towards their ultis. One of the more eponymous win cons for them.
Interesting how passive this defense is being played. We are very early in the half, so there's still time for that to kind of be a bit of a change up. Drone's going to spot a couple moving through market already, so they know that it's likely to be kind of a mid to B push. And well, they've already made space onto the side. Gingerman spots out one, trying to spray down through, but it is the Neon, and Neon can reposition very, very easily. Now they know that Gingerman is here, waiting to find some more. Oh, doesn't matter that they know he's there. He still wins that fight. Can't stop that plant from coming through, though, so now it's going to have to be a flood in onto the site. Paint Shells somehow finds purchase. Oh my god, Baldwin, how have you managed to find 2? A follow-up kill, a neural theft. Down into a 2v2. Raisins keeping this very competitive, but the smoke comes down to block their line of sight, so they have to push into the smoke.
What a flash!
Timing on the flash.
My
God! And it's a massive multi-frag that just keeps that tide ticking over.
Yeah, genuinely generational flash, but on the defense side, they tear them apart. Gingerman finding 2 kills. I don't even think he was blind. I think he saw it pop because Vice recently got adjusted with the fact that flash is a lot easier to counter. You can break it before it pops, or you can just turn away from it. And Gingerman finds 2 kills. Oh, it's going to be bloody. I can sense it already.
This is rough. Can we get a tab one more time quickly, please, production? Because if I'm not mistaken, despite winning that round, this is still like an eco. Well, not a full eco. Ah, black. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. We'll watch the silhouettes and see, but it looked for a moment like there was just a slew of pistols. It is pistols.
Yep.
All across the board here. So despite the fact that they win that round, they just have the 1 saved rifle from the previous. So it is very uncomfortable. Immediately Sway trying to take this space, pushing all the way up in towards mid. A little bit of damage traded out, but does survive that little bit longer. Now they have all of this space taken in towards mid, and meanwhile, they slowly encroach towards A.
Yeah, it's 5 alive for the first time in a while. Working towards this A site, like you mentioned. I think that Vice ulti is on the precipice. It's 3 away, a death plus a kill plus an orb. He's Rose Garden, so.
Gingerman is going to be heavily under pressure here, trying to play around this little bit of cover. Anything that he can find. Smokes come up, try to block things out. The Beast gets spotted, and the smokes just keep layering to keep him alive, but Gingerman will still find one regardless. Right clicks up close and personal, not quite finding purchase, but it is on the run it back. So Dean is still alive, and in this game, 3 on 3 with this spike planted. The retake must come through, and somehow Stale still finds one. How has Dean done that? Right up against Raisins, but the attempt at the defuse has already started. Quinn is all alone, 1 versus 2, being held back by Dean, and Dean does it. It's another thrifty round.
Yeah, big thrifty on that. This kill feed looked very, very fear-favored, but at the end of the day, Not Craig manages to salvage, manages to dig deep and find a thrifty there on the back of their Pyrrhic victory in the previous round. So, and on top of that, their greed is sort of rewarded. They managed to get an operator or an outlaw on Stale with enough money for an operator in the next round.
Oh, this the double buckies are sending me right now.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah,
you want to just jump on someone in elbow, like a Bucky's your best option.
I mean, you got proper double dive here as well. I mean, that's the exact kind of weapon that you want to be trying to use. Unfortunately, Stale has an outlaw. Oh, can't find the second shot, the refract, just to get out of dodge. Dean, however, going to find that double kill nonetheless. Picks up the orb as well. So despite having used the run it back, what, 2 rounds back? Yep. Already has another one just on the precipice. With only 2 players, I mean, I don't know how the hell Vise has found their way all the way into the defender spawn over towards A. Fair enough. Free movement through mid, I guess. But the spike's been lost. So this wraparound, it's going to have to go absolutely nuclear, but it could be the game changer. Now trying to find that opening. Oh my god, we just swing into a million people. And there we go. It becomes quite evident where that last player is. Around and around we go.
There was a world. There's a world if the Beast finds that kill and Quinn doesn't swing in as early as he did that. Things go up aces there. But a big thing going into these next couple of rounds, look at the ultis. We saw what happened the previous round when they were close to these Nova states. They overcommitted these ultis onto one round, lost it, and then made it found it very, very difficult in subsequent rounds to actually convert them. So we have the conversion parts. Its success rate has middled dramatically to an 80% over 100. 5 ultis committed, yeah. But we have that Nightfall and that Rose Garden in pocket. They have post plant basically secured. You just have to weave these ultis in the right order.
Trying to smoke out a little bit of information here, see if we can get people to run into our crosshairs. But instead, it's going to be a little bit of a slower hold. 4 people strong here on the site. A lot of noise being made. Might just give the game away. Nightfall comes out. Molotov follows just to try and catch that Neon off guard. But unfortunately, Dean was caught in the Nightfall. A lot being thrown into this. And we get a little bit of a trade going through. Sway finds his demise on the other side of a showstopper. Meanwhile, smokes and mirrors, folks.
Wow.
All of that was a distraction to allow for the Omen to get himself over towards A, plant that spike. Baldwin now trying to potentially stop some rotations. A little bit of damage done, closing the door. And his job now is to just slow things down. Quinn and he, in tandem, have to try and stop these players from pushing forward. Even if they fall, even if they can't actually wipe out these players, they need to stop this defuse from happening. And now Raisins, having rotated all the way around them, they line up. Oh my god, he still finds one. He still finds one, but he does get traded. Information guarded over, and oh my god, we said all they need to do is stop the defuse. Well, they may just be able. No, they're not. No, they're not. The horn gives the info, but they can't hold the line. It is a last nanosecond diffuse. Unreal retake.
That is an unbelievable round, man. The B fake with the ulti, the A plant. Raisins only manages to get 1. He gets 2 more there, and he guarantees that round for his team. And it's small edges. It's small steps every single step of the way. The Sphere team is so close to greatness, but every single time it's a pebble that just doesn't find traction here. And now they're up against the Phoenix ulti, a runner back that potentially diffuses their entire hit here. Even with the Rose Garden, not much you can do against the second life.
I'm still losing my mind over that retake. Insanity. I mean, they have all the right ideas, and it all falls apart. And now, of course, we'll kick things off with a kill directly onto the Neon. So that's your main duelist taken off board. I say that, Baldwin's been that kind of primary duelist for the previous map, so there is still some potential here to keep finding purchase. Raisins, TP's onto site, gets spotted immediately by the camera, so that's going to make things a little bit more difficult to try and hold on to that space. Has to teleport away. Not going to fall for a little bit of noise being made this time around, though. Instead, they keep that strong split across the map.
Big kill.
Caught on the other side of a shock dart released from the bow, but it's Quinn that swings to find the kill. It's just going to give them a little bit more space to work with here. Unfortunately, it's still very much a not Craig advantage. Dean gets forced off of the angle. Oh, TP to reinforce. Oh, no, actually. He just goes back to B. That's all right.
Yeah, 30-second time. Maybe it would have been better to stick there. Oh,
Probably.
Dean's in a bad spot, yeah.
Dean's all alone now. Oh, but he's got the run it back, and that's possibly all he needs. He does get caught out, unfortunately, but it does stall them out a little bit. They're going to swing around the corner to try and catch him. Stale is ready to ensure that they can't shut him down. Stale keeps his teammate alive, and between the two duelists, that's another round under the belt.
Yeah, that's a massive hold in that elbow area, right? The runner back just to buy himself crucial seconds, right? Give Stell enough time to rotate, get into that elbow, backside elbow with the operator to find that first kill while he's still pulling out his gun, and he can just contribute afterwards. But the Fear side, pulling that first parachute. We spoke about having a parachute and then the emergency one. This one I think is a lot better than the other ones they've done previously, right? This one is in a really good spot where you have the overdrive on the Neon and you have the Vice ulti, right? You can stack them in a way that makes your site execute really, really strong, right? You can't get through elbow because you're struggling with a lot of utility problems. You can't get down mid because there's an operator waiting for you. Your next best option, smoking off mid, going through market into B with the Vice ulti and the Neon ulti. So just making sure that you can piece that together, making sure that the comms and everything on a fundamental level stays acceptable. Dare I say it needs to be exceptional from the Sphere side, because they are at a 3-round deficit. They can feel this lead slipping away from them, but the lights get super bright, but can you face it is the real question.
Seeing some very, very strong defensive sides across both of the last 2 maps, this one and obviously on Split as well. This time around, of course, Fear with the opportunity to mount a really strong position for themselves on the attacking side. You know, obviously you don't get that opportunity to mount that early defense, but going with that double dive comp, that's what's meant to be enabling you. And unfortunately, they're not finding that footing. And on the flip side, I mean, I've been astounded by how strong these defenses have been for Not Craig. And well, going to continue moving along here the fast lane to allow them to move forward. Ginger Man pushed back, trying to stop Baldwin from taking that space, but they can't stop the spike from being planted. The overdrive is popped. Not quite going to find anything, though. It's actually going to be the Hunter's Fury that finds that first blood on the retake. Numbers advantage for Not Craig, despite everything. Sway in this close-up angle. Surely they watch for it. They've been punished by that angle before. What a shot from Raisins. Looking for the follow-up, but will not be permitted to do so. And it is just clean-up from the Not Craig squad. And indeed, that shotgun got checked and did not deliver to the promised land.
Yeah, and it's on the back of Ginger Man being a really stalwart sentinel this entire half, right? Ginger Man coming into this in that conversation for best sentinel in the country, right? He's always being snubbed by some sentinel of the season, right? And he's never had an opportunity to really stake his claim, regard himself as one of the better sentinels. And this series, he's showing up in spades, 12 and 9 on the board. He's working on his, I think, 3rd ulti in 12 rounds. So Ginger Man definitely stepping up big time in a moment where his team needs him to. And being a massive thorn in Fear's side is struggling to find any kind of value here. But that Rose Garden still sitting in pocket can be a round changer and defining moment for this team.
I mean, Ginger Man was MVP of the last map as well, so just really stepping up on that Cypher, continuing to be, as you said, a thorn in the side. Let's see it. Oh my days, Painter. Has to actually cancel that drone just to survive, getting peppered down.
Yep.
Slightly to the side, so that obviously doesn't end in his demise, but I think that would have been a devastating way for that to go. Instead, now, given a chance to kind of reset a little bit, and it looks like we're going for a little bit more of a walk-up through mid. Oh, I kind of wanted Jades to stay up on that elevated position, but he wants to go for a little bit of jump spotting. Unfortunately, that he's used that TP to get that high ground, so not going to have that a little bit later on. Now the Thorn Garden is going to get popped on to, or rather the Steel Garden on the B side, allows for the split to start coming through, but Painter still finds the opener onto Baldwin. They're just so good at predicting how the movement of these duelists is going to be. Quinn's going to get the trade-off, however, but it's a double, triple kill on the side. You know what, guys? I'm just going to stop calling numbers because it happens so quickly.
Yeah. It's a head scratcher. Where were the smokes? How was Painter getting that kill onto Baldwin? I think he rotated all the way. He was top mid. You knew he was top mid. He's rotating through market. Painter kills him trying to get onto site, right? It's small things, small mistakes, right? We teed it up in the beginning of this series about how it is a game of known quantities versus the unknown, the dark horse in this tournament, Fear. And Fear going into this, having to iron out a lot of those mistakes if they're hoping to make this a bit more competitive here.
All right, the low and slow not working out for them, so instead we're going to hit the accelerator, and that's going to net Quinn an opening frag. Dean is in a really good spot, though. Oh, my God. Oh, the Nightfall comes out, but Dean gets a double regardless. Sway,
big kill.
Very good counter double from him, and that means that the numbers advantage is in favor of Fear. For the first time in a long time, it feels like they actually could be able to walk away with a round, but Ginger Man continues to be a problem. A spam through the wall brings it back to the 2-on-2, and that's going to bring out the showstopper as well. So Baldwin is left all alone, finds the kill on Gingerman, but still needs to clean up Stale. And Stale's been terrifying. The shotgun operator has been unbelievably strong, powerful, getting results that it absolutely should not get. And all Baldwin needs to do is buy a little bit of time here, stop that defuse from happening. He sticks it for a little bit, gets that half, another little bit of a tap. Baldwin spraying through, gives away the fact that he's pushed forward. Stale somehow baits him into a ring-a-ring-a-rosy, and it's Stale for the final kill. And getting it to half is so instrumental.
Yeah, that's post-plant etiquette 101, right? You get the spike to half on first tap every single time. Then you do a fast second tap to force a response from the enemy team. They either have nerves of steel and they don't swing you, or they panic and then go for it. And it is so close to greatness every single time, and I think that's what's so frustrating with this Fierce size. They're always so close to greatness. They had quite possibly one of the most charismatic attack sides on towards that A side, and they just couldn't get across the line, right? Getting beat by the veterancy of Stale.
2 rounds remaining in this half. Oh my god, Dean. I mean, it's a little bit unreasonable how he's able to just keep surviving all of these onslaughts. Doesn't matter how many players they throw at him, he's always good for at least one before he's run over. And this time around he survives, and he's given the opportunity to reposition. There's no more noise being made in towards A, so he can start moving over. And yes, with the run it back online, there's so much potential here for some info plays. He's actually being followed by the Sova as well. So this is to ensure that when he comes back to his body, if there's someone waiting, oh, the run it back's not going to be allowed to happen. Fear the Beast shuts it down before there's possibility. Painter has to play very, very passive here. Still catches Baldwin. He's still seized up. He gets a double kill off the back. Jades wraps around, finds that final shot. This is bullying at this point.
Yeah, that's a massive kill for the LAN rookie there as Painter. He had no business surviving that. Genuinely no business surviving that. He was being pushed. He was seized. He had no ears. He couldn't do anything about it, but he brute force, brute sheer character manages to work his way out of that situation. And 10-2 once again on the horizon for this not Craig side, making a very distinct effort to get back into that grand final.
Looks like another 10-2 half possibly on the horizon here.
The project horizon?
No, that's a whole different project, man. How does Stale keep doing this? It's actually unreasonable. The amount of value that he's consistently getting with the stop, but that's exactly what you want. Painter follows it up. Dean, unfortunately, not going to find anything with the run it back. Painter's going to shut that one down. We are going to get a couple of trades back. It's going to pull out the Hunter's Fury, but now they have to be weary of that overdrive. The spike has been lost in mid, however, so Sway trying desperately to create the space needed to recover that. They've left the spike. They've just left it. They're trying to find an equalizer here, an extra kill, and Sway gets shut down. Painter! Painter in mid, brother. Yeah. No one gets to have mid. That is Painter's territory.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's what, 7 kills in 2 rounds from the same spot as Painter. So guarantee a 10-2 in a very flashy fashion is Painter, and the side of Stale, or not the side of Stale, the side of not Craig rather, 10-2 advantage. Once again, Fear having to dig deep here if they're wanting to secure their spot. Firstly in the grand final, secondly in AGC history, having won 3 titles distinctly as an organization. And it's on the back of these 5, right? It's on the back of those boys on the stage right there to dig deep, find some kind of character, some kind of strength to be brave in the face of adversity. And if they can't find it, negotiate with your body to find some more.
Yeah, we know about negotiating with our bodies. It's been a long day here, but it's been a day of action, a day of enjoyment across the board. But now this pistol round could be the be-all and end-all for Fear. A loss here might just be that final nail in the coffin, and so we see them play this a little bit more cautiously. And look at the way that Not Craig are playing this. They've actually left the spike for later collection, if necessary. They want to play for those early picks if they can. Now, they haven't found anything towards mid. It doesn't look like they're potentially going to opt for the split here. They may still, with that smoke having gone down, I don't think that the doors come down yet, so they do actually have an avenue for it. And the fact that it's the Cypher and the Omen chilling there, you can still get that utility coming out and allow for the exec. But we're very, very strong on the B side. Sway's going to find that first kill, but he's going to get traded out. Oh, Painter! Whether it's A, whether it's B main, whether it's mid, he continues to show up. But Quinn has found a way back in, and Raisins will follow that up. You said it, right? The experienced duo needs to come up massive again.
30 seconds
Look
left.
at this. The Spike's moving its way through the attacker spawn, and look at where this Cypher has posted up. Gingerman again, just such a problem. So consistently down into a 2-on-2, and the retake must come through.
Spike
And it's
planted.
a very difficult retake as well. They have all of that elbow control, all of that mid control, and Spike's planted in an advantageous spot.
Here's the problem for Fear. They don't have any idea where these last two players are. They have to clear absolutely everything if they want to find the space that they need to go for that defuse. So hand in hand, check every corner, hold every angle. Haunt comes out. They know there's one behind Jenny. There always is. Oh my God, he paranoid his own teammate. Oh, not like this. That's not the way you want it to go. Raisin's desperately right-clicking for his life. Not quite landing the shots. There it is. It lands onto Stale, but does he have the time to actually get the defuse? The smoke is just to the side, gets it to the half. Gingerman has to push, and so he does. And what looked like it may have been a Fear round is snatched away.
Yeah, and it's on the back of Gingerman being a massive thorn in their side, managing to circumvent his way through A main, through spawn, into CT. The entirety of that round he spent in their spawn, basically playing for some kind of Joker condition is the protocol. So basically a round-winning lurk. That's the idea, right? And he found one big one here. He's found one on Ascent. He's found one on Split, right? He's every single step of the way, he's finding ways to win his team these rounds.
And not for the first time. We find Not Craig 1 round away from map point, but this time it's for the series.
Yep.
Everything is on the line here, and all they need is 2 rounds to secure their spot in the grand final. And then they can sleep in tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Yeah, the second semi-final still has to be played. Whoever wins here gets a little bit of a breath of fresh air. Actually, I say that. There is the third, fourth place decider, but that's also later in the day.
Yeah.
So you know what? Give yourself a little bit of time. Ooh, recon. That's actually beautiful timing on the layers of utility that come out. Forces Dean back. They're not going to be able to take that space. Sophia not yet out for the count. Spike was actually over towards A. It's going to start slowly making its way over while Stale gets a kill onto Baldwin. But there's a trade-off onto Gingerman, and that is the raid boss out. And suddenly, with Stingers in hand, it feels like we have somehow salvaged this round. Spike hasn't committed anywhere just yet. It's still kind of hovering a little bit. Meanwhile, the rest of the team of Fear are trying to stop these rotations. Painter's not going to be able to hold on to mid this time, it seems, but utility, did that bounce back on himself?
Yep.
You know what? These things do happen. Sway's going to find the kill regardless, and somehow Fear continue to tread water. Jades is not going to be able to live for much longer, and despite losing that first pistol, Fear keep their heads in the game.
Yeah, finding a really big round here, and it's in a very similar fashion to how they did on Split, right? On the Ecos with the Stingers, they managed to salvage another round, and this round looking significantly more healthy than their previous one, managing to actually upgrade themselves to 3 rifles, a Stinger, and a Judge. So, Bolden, with that signature weapon, Judge in hand, looking to get close and bloody in this round.
Stale's 19-7.
Yep.
That's crazy work. Needs to keep that up, though. I mean, now they're not on the defensive side anymore. Might not get as much value.
5-man seize!
I mean,
a 5-man seize
it's
there.
big, but where's the capitalization? Unfortunately, they don't have the info. They don't know that they can swing. Now they do. Everyone's tagged up, and Jades is going to find the opener onto Raisins. Not ideal. Omen on Omen violence. But it's given Baldwin the opportunity to take some space here, to get a little bit more up close and personal. Was a little bit of a slowdown, a rethink as now they start moving forward. The flash getting lined up, ready and waiting. Baldwin wants to try and get ahead of the flash. He does! Finds only 1 kill before he's traded. Gingerman, how does he keep doing this? The bandit in hand. And he is a problem to be dealt with. Fear now only have 2 players remaining as Quinn manages to find a kill onto the opposing initiator. There's still so much more that needs to be done here. Time certainly of the essence. You know what? Who needs an op? Stale gets it done with a Guardian. Doesn't matter what gun is in hand, he will answer the call. And Fear the Beast now has a call of his own to try and answer. 1 versus 3. He spotted out Stale. Oh, but he's overplaying his hand. Yeah, he knows time's of the essence. Doesn't realize he's being wrapped on. And that's a 3rd kill for Ginger Man.
Well, that's so tragic, man. It's a 5-man siege, and if it was a different comp, if it's a raise, if that nade lands, it would have... Oh, it's moments like these, you know, that make this Fear team so exciting, because they're so close to being great.
Yeah.
They're so close to going head-to-head with Titans, right? And it's moments like those that show that they can do it, but they're just being outclassed in those other moments, right? A cut noise re-hit on that 50-second timer. It's even odd. It's a 58-second timer. You're not expecting it. You're waiting for Util to come off of a different timer. And Fear finally pulling that emergency shoot. No more parachutes, no more timeouts to save you. Hell, no more rounds to save you either. As you're currently staring at a 9-round deficit. And Craig can basically see the light at the end of the tunnel. They can see the grand final in sights. It's but a step away.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the 9-round deficit. You've got to call out the scoreline. It's map and series point now.
Yep.
It's 1 round that not Craig need. Off the back of losing that first map in such a fashion that we weren't even sure that this was going to go the distance.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And yet they've managed to rally themselves.
And going into this, I don't think it's taking away anything from Craig. I think they've played a game that's uniquely theirs.
Yeah.
I think they've played a very confident game. I think they've had people who've stepped up in big moments, and Fear just struggling to have those big moments of their own, or not even that, just realize the potentiality of the situations they find themselves in. But after the timeout, pep talks have been delivered. Timer is expiring, and Fear, one more chance, one more mistake here, sends Craig to the grand finals. But an opportunity, a glimmer of hope on the horizon.
Yeah, spirits look a little bit low on the Fear side, unfortunately. It's a long road to Tipperary if they want to find themselves back in a contestable scenario. And all Not Craig need to do here is keep it clean. It's been very clean so far. And it's one more step to pull them over the finish line. The low and slow once more, a 5-man death ball making its way over towards the A site. They've got that trap over towards B just in case of a cheeky lurk. Well, what was a lurk up ends up being a orb taken and some information garnered. Showstopper comes out. Oh, the dink, but there's no cleanup. Baldwin falls by the wayside. Dean has opened things up for his team once again. The spike to be planted. Fear with very little to work with in this round. No money, no weaponry. The run it back comes out as well, and even if that doesn't get a kill, it's going to find them so much information. It does get shut down, but Ginger Man and Paint have brought it into a stronger scenario. Sway with an operator in hand. What can you possibly accomplish? And there it is. Take your bows, gentlemen. You have locked your spot in the grand finals.
Yeah, and most importantly, Painter. In his first LAN appearance, his first LAN grand finals, right? It's a lot of firsts today. There's even more firsts tomorrow going into this. But the big thing here, Craig played a game that was uniquely theirs. Craig did it with scraps on the attack side. Craig did it with attacks on their own map pick. They did it with attacks on the enemy map pick. And overall, 2-1 is the scoreline, but it's a very contentious 2-1.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? As Sinatra said, I did it my way. That's exactly what they did. And it was really cool. And there's a part of me that looks at that composition and I just think, you know, okay, we're playing kind of the same comp every time. I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. But if it works, if you have the synergy, you have the protocols, you have the plans in place, then you know what? If not, why not? It works out for them. And yes, they are going to be our first team to lock in to the grand final tomorrow. And there is the scoreline, a reminder, a refresher for anyone who needs it. The reverse sweep comes to be. And this is very, very exciting because I think that when we looked at the teams that signed up for this LAN, we had a really good idea of who was, you know, going to make quarters, who could possibly make semis, but And we had an idea of at least one team that was likely to be in that grand final. But who that second team was kind of up in the air. And then we watched the quarterfinal, and all of those quarterfinals some of them ended up in 2-0s, but many of those games were incredibly close. In fact, Not Craig had a 2018 overtime in their quarterfinal game. So it was really tough to call who was going to lock in that potentially second grand final spot. Well, it has been Not Craig, and they're going to be sitting in the wings waiting to find out who's going to join them tomorrow on that stage.
Yeah, and it's on the back of very, very tumultuous and successful land for them, right? They've played 6 games in one day and somehow come out on top despite all adversity, despite multiple different people coming back to this game, right?
Yeah.
Painter was away for an indeterminate amount of time. He came back and guarantees them a final, winning a couple of rounds on Sunset on his own, right? Gingerman, a man who's been, I think, bashed at multiple steps of the way, trying to prove his name, trying to cut his teeth against the best competition, finally getting an opportunity to run the biggest stage, right, that we have. So AGC welcomes the first team into grand finals.
A very, very impressive performance. Now, folks, we are done for today. But remember, we still have 2 more days of AGC action. We are live from the Grand West Arena in Cape Town, and spectators, you are not only welcome, you are encouraged. Please come down, be a part of the audience, and cheer on some of your favorite teams. For tomorrow, we again have a very, very full day, but I believe that it's predominantly the Fortnite and the Valorant that are going to be live on stream, and that means that we will have our second semi-final, a very exciting semi-final as well, and that will determine who's going to be in the grand final, a massive best of 5 to close out the day. You don't want to miss any of it. So make sure that you're following ACGL on all socials. Make sure you're following the streaming platforms so that you know as soon as we go live, and be here tomorrow to join in on all of the action. From all of us here in the Grand West Arena, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you same time, same place, bright and early tomorrow morning.
Gamers from around sub-Saharan Africa, get ready for the return of the African Gaming Championship for 2026. We're heading to Cape Town, South Africa, where players will be competing at Grand West for 150,000 Rand in cash. This is where the top players from Africa gather to be able to compete. This is where bragging rights are earned. This is where new stars rise. This is where legends are made and legends fall. This is the crowning moment of African esports. This is AGC.